What's up, everybody? Crapgamer here, and this is Xbox Nation. Sorry we're a little bit late today, but as usual, Mooch, he wanted to show up late. He was like, hey, you know, I'm going to be fashionably late, and so we were all waiting around for him, and so, yeah. Originally, I was like, man, it's just going to end up being me. I haven't heard from She-Wolf or GKB all day. I'm going to be in there by myself, and then it all ended up working out fine because everybody's here. And then some. We got a couple of cool-ass people here as well to fill in for Hell Hammer, who's not going to make it. He is out with his wife on her birthday or something like that, celebrating. So thank you guys for taking time out to check out this podcast, and hopefully you guys have a good time. We'll go down the line. Mooch, what's up, you late bastard?
Yeah, buddy. You know, sometimes you got to work late. What are you going to do? But yeah, like I said, I like crap. He's always in denial. I wrote, I'm going to be a little late. He's like, so I guess it'll just be me, GKB, and She-Wolf. I'm like, well, you calm down. I'm on the way home.
I got anxiety, man, and we just passed medical marijuana, so we don't have it yet. So
no. We have medical. We have medical in New York. We don't have recreational. I guess now recreational. It's what, Colorado, Washington, California, and now Massachusetts. I think.
Yeah. Well, I mean, usually getting medical first is the first step to getting that. But yeah. I'm just happy that, you know, there is, like, honestly, such a stigma with that, and like there's a lot of sick people that I'm just for a second talk about this, would rather be on that than opiates and big farm, and like I could get into this whole subset of this, but anyway, yeah. So yeah, it's cool to have you here, even though you're a little bit late. And then we have the governor, GKB. What's up, bro?
What's going on, Crap? How's it going, man? Great to be on Xbox Nation. Can't wait to talk some gaming because I'm tired of hearing about this election and freaking Twitter craziness.
Oh, yeah. Everybody was like, man, just make sure you keep it gaming. I'm like, what else would a podcast called Xbox Nation?
Right?
I mean, you know what I mean? Yeah.
Do current events, everybody.
Yes, I'm gonna sit there and like read current events and talk about nothing but the election. Hell no, it's gaming related. And we have your wife, She-Wolf. What's up, She-Wolf?
Hello.
You sound enthusiastic as hell. I love that. What's up?
I don't know. The ceiling?
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, it wasn't that bad of a joke. Jeez.
No, it's not Noof Nukem level, but anyway, glad you could join us.
Wow.
Glad you can join us.
That's the joke. We also got Mr. A Million himself, Brand Outdoor, who was like, hey, I can jump in if you need help tonight. And I was like, thank God. So what's up, Brand? How you doing, bro? Cool.
Oh.
Brand is he's here, but he's not here.
He's here in spirit. He's here.
Yes. But we also got Mr. Hades, K-Mega. What's up, bro?
What's up, everybody? The nation is going to Hades, but I'm not going to get into it. So, hey, man, so let's talk about video games. I want to be drowned out, man, with talking about games.
You know, you say that, and last night, like, it felt really cold here in Florida. I'm like, wow, hell's already freezing over.
Exactly. and leave it up to Florida. Thank you, people out there in Florida. So just a wonderful, wonderful day at work, listening to all the Oklahomans that are so red that they're burgundy. And just had to hear them celebrate. So this is great. So let's talk about some damn games. I don't even want to get into it, man. I don't even want to get into it. Jesus.
All right. So a little bit of I want to talk a little bit because GKB and She-Wolf, you guys both played Titanfall 2.
Oh, man.
I'm very curious to hear both of your guys' thoughts on this game now, because you were like anti-Titanfall. Well, not anti, but you guys were on the same place that I was before I played it, where I was like, yeah, I would have liked to play the 10-hour trial first, but whatever. So, I mean, what's your guys' thoughts on the game now, having played it?
You want to go first, She-Wolf?
Yeah, I guess, because I guess I'm a little more upbeat about it than you are. So, the campaign I loved. I did love, like, I enjoyed the campaign and what they brought with BT, like, the emotion that this Titan actually brought to that campaign was amazing. I do find the graphics were a little bit kind of weird when it got close up to, like, say, the people's faces and stuff like that. But yeah, I guess you know, they put so much into the environment. I guess everything can't be perfect when it comes to that. But I do find, like, the bosses and stuff were really not relatable to at all. You didn't really know much of a backstory on any of them. And so they just kind of seemed a bit rushed when it came to the story aspect of it. But I did love BT in this whole thing. He had to be like my all-time favorite, where even Jack, the pilot you don't really relate to at all. Like I don't know. I guess they almost could have just done the whole thing just with BT, but that's my personal opinion. I did beat it on hard. I did find it seemed very simple and easy for being on hard mode. I should have just done it on master mode, but yeah, like even the boss fight, as soon as you got the whole thing down about just kind of hiding behind pillars and shooting them, you pretty much just had to play Ring Around the Rosie, and then you were able to beat the bosses pretty simple. So I don't know, playing hard was not that hard.
Did you like being able to switch your Titan loadout on the fly though? Because I really liked that aspect during the campaign. I
did, and you got like good achievements for that too. If you killed like a Titan with each of the cores, like the core finishes and stuff like that. So I did like how simple that was. That you could switch through, even if you were fighting, you could quickly switch if you didn't like how one was reacting with another Titan or that scene at that particular time. And so I did enjoy that a lot. When it comes to the campaign, or not the campaign, sorry. When it comes to the multiplayer, I'm still not down on it. It still feels too heavy. Like when you're boosting and you're wall running, you still feel heavy. And I know some people try to tell me that, well, it's just my sensitivity and stuff. And no, I literally went and played like a Titanfall 1 match and then played a Titanfall 2 match. And you can feel the difference in, just the lightness of your pilot and stuff like that. And the Titans, I still have the same issue. The whole battery pulling out, being thrown off, to throw a grenade in, to be thrown off, to get back on. That whole thing just is retarded to begin with. If, in my opinion, I still don't agree with that. But in all, it's not a bad game. And for anyone who, I said this on Console Corner yesterday, for anyone who has not bought this or played the first game, buy this game. It is still a great experience for any of those who have never played the first one, because then you don't have anything to compare it to. It does have good maps. It does have, they are still a little more campy than I would like.
Better maps than what we played in the tech test, for sure.
Yes, the tech test was horrible. They should have never even have brought that up or even introduced it. They shouldn't have done any of that. They should have just left the tech test alone and never bothered with it. But they did, and whatever. It caused the issue that it did. And when it comes to multiplayer and stuff, if you've never played the first one, you won't notice the changes that we all notice. So in reality, it's still a good game. I'm still going to wait for a sale to actually buy this game. I'm not going to pay full price. So
yeah, Black Friday it's going to be on sale. So
yes,
cool. I'm hearing that a lot of different places. GKB, thanks for your thoughts. That was really in depth. I appreciate that. I feel a little bit emasculated though, because you beat it on a harder level than I did. So yeah, I don't know what my deal is. I used to be good at games. I think I don't know. I can't play games on difficult hard levels anymore. I don't know. I just die and get frustrated and want to break my controller and yeah. So I don't know. But GKB, what's up? What was your thoughts on the game? I haven't played it.
Yeah, I red boxed it. We rented it, and I got to play through the campaign, multiplayer, and all that kind of stuff. And to be honest, like I think altogether it's a good game. I don't think it's a great game. I don't think it's groundbreaking at all, and certainly not game of the year. I think the graphics, the sound, the effects, everything is fantastic. I think they're really pushing the crap probably to the limits of the Source engine and what they can handle in that. And here I go into probably some of the bad stuff. Like, so the campaign is good. I have quite a few issues with it. Like, I didn't really understand. I like that you get to the point where you're fighting the bosses like Cain and Ash and all that kind of stuff. I thought that was really cool implementation there, but I think it was lackluster overall. I didn't really care for any of the characters besides BT. And I think they dropped the ball on the boss fights. I think they could have done so much more, especially when each of them, I think Viper is the best one, best of the fights, but they could have done so much more with the environments. Like, you fight Scorch, you fight Cain, he's using like a Scorch Titan. Like, why didn't the environment, like, he can like burn some like oil or something like that to bring more of the environment in, or use some of the environment to damage him, to knock him down, to do some of the damage and stuff like that. It was just, I don't know. I think it was just missed opportunities throughout the whole campaign.
Yeah, I can see the complaint with like the bosses. Did you notice the one sounded a lot like Arnold Schwarzenegger?
Yeah,
Like I was like, is
kind
that
of the one-liners and stuff.
Yeah, I was like, was that intentional? But yeah, like they could have.
Crap, it was intentional.
Yeah.
You know.
Oh, I know, because he's like, I think he's like, get to the chopper or something
well,
like that.
He says that, but then the achievement you get for beating him is see you at the party.
Yeah,
and his name's Richter, and if you know your Total Recall. You know,
I don't know much about Total Recall, but yeah. So
there's a bad guy named Richter that Arnold Schwarzenegger kills in the movie.
Yeah,
and says, "See you at the party, Richter." And after you kill Richter in the game, the achievement is "See you at the party." So
okay, yeah. I mean, I would have liked them to flesh out the bad guys, the bosses a little bit more.
I mean, when you get to them, you don't really understand their motivations. Yeah, you see a little bit on the HUD and stuff like that, but I would have liked to have seen them throughout the levels and stuff, kind of a little more interaction, maybe like halfway through that mission, he showed up and you kind of did like a little like soft fight or whatever, and then finished him off, towards the end or something like that, just to get them more involved, so you cared about like the fight at all. Like,
well, the worst one was that end one, that Vulture. I forget what the hell his name is.
Viper.
Viper.
Yeah. I thought that was the best one actually.
That was the only one that was actually the only one that was actually somewhat different than all the other ones, because all the other ones you were kind of like in like a basement type area room with a bunch of pillars around the area that you just pretty much circled around the whole time. At least that one, you were more open, and you had to actually dodge more and use your skills more to actually avoid him.
And here's another part.
I'd like to see what you guys would say about that fight, about that boss if you played it on Master, because that fucking boss fight was a pain in the goddamn ass. Hey, as unique as it was, like it was pretty unique. That was definitely by far.
But here's the thing, though, is like
the hardest one to do.
The devs developed the game to be played on normal, so if I have to play on Master, like that kind of defeats the purpose, I guess, for normal players. Like I play on hard, I play on all that kind of stuff, but
wasn't hard ridiculously easy?
Yes.
Are you guys crazy? Do I suck that bad?
You must. It was easy. Like I usually play my games on normal, and that was easy. Like
I don't know about
that part where all those Titans are coming at you, and I just was like over and over and over again. Like I was like, holy crap!
I didn't have that much problem with it, man. But I don't know what you guys like, because I know you guys like mentioned, time travel, and I don't want to like get into much of it. But literally, it was only like 5 minutes of the game, which I thought was another missed opportunity, because they introduced this awesome mechanic that I actually really enjoyed. But then, literally, that mission's over, the thing breaks, and no more time travel-y thing.
But I think it's to lead it up to like the future games and say the next campaign, because let's be honest, the way that they ended it, they left it open for another one to be introduced, and for having that time travel feature, they pretty much were able to test the waters with it to see what people did think. And I do think that they used it in a good opportunity spot that they did it, and it's not like it wasn't just like one real, like, let's be honest, it was kind of like the last 3/4 of the map, like the campaign. It was like a good, pretty much in my opinion, it was a good chunk of how they played it though.
Yeah. I mean, but GKB, what did you think about the multiplayer after having played the tech test?
So I have a different opinion of multiplayer than She-Wolf. I actually enjoyed attrition. It felt much closer to Titanfall 1 than I actually thought it was going to be, so that was fantastic. I went back and played the other modes that were in the tech test, and they exactly play the same. They even feel the same as they did in the tech test, so nothing changed there. But attrition felt good. They probably should have gave that in the tech test, and probably would have had a much better opinion about the game, honestly.
I said the same exact thing. I was like, attrition feels good to me, but the others don't feel as good. But attrition still felt
maps and stuff were awesome. But yeah, I mean, I thought the customization cool, like camos and all that kind of stuff for your weapons and everything. That's fantastic. That was good stuff. But yeah, I mean, overall, it was a good game, man. Like, I'm not gonna lie, it was a good game. Groundbreaking game of the year, no.
No, I don't think so either.
Definitely, I don't know if I'd pay $60 for it. I think a rent is a better option to me personally.
Or a sale. Like, okay, if it would have came out at a different timeline, I think it would have done much better, and I think more people would have gave it the opportunity that it possibly could have used. Because like putting it between Battlefield 1, which is a highly recommended game to anyone who wants boots on the ground, the old style playing games. And then you have Call of Duty, which that one alone gave it its own personal, unique touch to it, which was more surprising than a lot of people, I think, expected. So to put Titanfall 2 right in the middle, which is kind of like both of those, but not as good as those, I guess you can say, was not a good launch for them. And I think that's where they kind of screwed themselves over with not actually putting it, say, like next year during like February or something when there is no other multiplayer or for shooters to come out.
I agree. It was probably a piss poor time for launch. You know, I think that.
Can I let me say, the audience is calling for me to say something. So let me just say from the outside looking in real quick, because I've been watching a lot of reviews. I watched a lot of people's reviews. I watched a lot of the big YouTubers. I've watched a lot of us. I watched a lot of everybody. There's a lot of interesting things, and I have questions, and I'm waiting to hear from a buddy of all of ours on his stance in a second. But I may be getting a copy for a review soon. But here before we get into that, here's what I heard. Okay, I told you guys I keep my ear to the ground. In one of the shows that I do listen to, I don't, as you can tell, we're not on speaking terms, but Greg Miller and Colin Moriarty. I do watch their show because I think overall, when they're not riding the Sony pony into the rainbow fortress that they've built, I think that sometimes they do a decent job of communicating different games. They cover everything from Nintendo. They don't do a really good job on Microsoft at all. But nonetheless, so this game is a multi-plat. And the one thing that Colin Moriarty said was he said, I keep watching and hearing, and everyone told me I've got to play this campaign. I got to play this campaign. And he felt that it was very lackluster. Mm-hmm. He thought it was okay at best. He thought, and basically he regurgitated exactly what GKB just said. His biggest complaint was that there wasn't enough emphasis on these final bosses. I don't know if you guys ever played the SNES Bazooka, the super whatever it was called. There was basically a side the rocket launcher, and there was a game that came out for that, and it was basically just boss fights. No story, little entry thing, and then a boss fight. And he described it basically as like something very similar to that, and saying that there was just a lot of lost opportunity with that, whatever. Now, that being said, I haven't played it. I can't comment on it. I will tell you that a lot of people that have said that they think that the ranting and raving of how great it was is a little overblown. I can't comment on that yet. My point, and that's why when I heard you guys speaking last night, and I'm hearing you now, you're reiterating what a few YouTubers had said. Now, that being said, I want to bring up another point that nobody seems to have discussed. And I'm reaching out to I'm not reaching out to the YouTubers. I'm reaching out to the audience here. I was a huge Call of Duty person for many years. Okay, where I was dude bro. Okay, I played just Call of Duty for fucking ever. I did. I played it. Well, my circle of friends. Okay, like you have your friends, Crap with Grave and all those guys. I had my group of people at work, and they were just Call of Duty people. That's what they liked. So every night when I would get pinged, let's play. I'm not going to say, fuck you guys, I want to play something else. I was playing with my friends. So point being is, whenever we talked about Call of Duty, it was based on the solid and the structure and the solidarity of the multiplayer, okay? And I watch a lot of reviews, and everyone's talking on a 10-minute review of Titanfall 2, 8 minutes of it is the campaign. And that's all fine and dandy, but everyone's telling me that it's depending on if you played it on easy or you played it on really hard. You're only talking about like 5 to 7 hours. We've bashed games like The Order. We've bashed other games like Quantum Break for being a campaign that's 5 to 7 hours. This game, okay, no matter how wonderful or splendid or how much you don't like the campaign is the afterthought. It's the dessert, or it's just the appetizer, if you will. The meat and potatoes of this game is the multiplayer. You're not buying Titanfall 2 for a 5-hour campaign. You're just
I bought Titanfall 2 for a 5-hour campaign.
You're in the minority, and that's why nobody bought it. So
they didn't buy it because it was play strong, but
that's part of it, Rand. But to be honest with you, when I have 200+ hours, I have 200+ hours in the Titanfall 1. Okay, it didn't matter if they had a 5-hour campaign. Okay, take 5 hours out of the 200. 195 were spent in multiplayer. So my point being is Titanfall 2's error is what we all said in the tech test. They went back, they rebalanced, they did the best they could. But Rand, even your analysis of it in your review, you only talked high praise of the campaign. And most people
because
are paying.
That's what matters to me.
Yeah, and that's fine. That's your prerogative. But when you're talking about on a show like this where you have an audience and 10,000 people are going to be listening to this over the course of a week, I would say 8,000 plus give more of a crap about their $60 going towards the longevity of the game, and that's in the multiplayer. And nobody who gave this game a good rating and gave the multiplayer an over-satisfactory rating, and that's the problem.
To touch on your multiplayer analysis there, Mooch, is I have to agree with you. Like for these kind of games, the longevity is all about the multiplayer. And what I said on the console corner last night too is I played the multiplayer and I felt myself gravitating, wanting to go play COD, and that for me is red sirens going off and all that kind of stuff, man. Because if I don't want to play the multiplayer, I want to play another game's multiplayer. It's kind of dead in the water right there.
Well, the fact that like Call of Duty went to like wall running and then Titanfall went to sliding, they're let's be honest, their multiplayer games are pretty much the exact same now. Even the maps are getting so close in look and style that there's not much of a difference between the two games. The only one that used to really push me was Titanfall 1 for the fact of, like I said, the lightness of your pilot and how fast you're able to move from one end to the other end. And it's just not there anymore. You can feel the heaviness in these characters.
If you don't believe me, though, and She-Wolf and GKB, I think you guys are on my train here. And like I said, this is all from the outside looking in. But people who are playing Battlefield right now, nobody's saying, my God, Battlefield's campaign's fantastic. We're past that. That was the appetizer. It was a nice little thing to talk about. Now everyone's talking about Battlefield, the multiplayer. And people are going to be talking about Call of Duty, the multiplayer into and past Christmas. And that's the thing with Titanfall. Titanfall lost its core audience because they changed it so much. And that's why they just catered to the wrong people. They listened to the wrong... the wrong criteria that was filled out. They went so hard. I'm not doubting the campaign's good. All I'm saying is that's not what sells Titanfall. And that's the problem.
But for Titanfall 2, though, you have to also look at it this way. One of the biggest downfalls of Titanfall 1 was the fact that it didn't have a campaign. So when it comes to just this game in particular, I'm not referring to any of the other ones. When it comes to this game in particular, a lot of people were really basking on the fact of this campaign and wanting to know what it was going to be. And it was probably a big seller for this game because of the fact that everybody really wanted to see what was this campaign going to be like. And that is very disappointing that, it wasn't as good as what I guess we all thought it could have been. It's pretty much just a normal campaign like any other campaigns and any other shooter games. So that part let down. But I do think that before the game released, it was still in a lot of people's minds on whether or not they're going to buy this game because of this campaign.
Well, did anybody notice during the campaign, or like your Titan has kind of a personality and stuff in Titanfall 2, and then the first one he has none. Like he's just a tank.
I thought that was the best part of it, though. I think BT was.
Oh, BT was. I was like, I cried more for BT than Harambe.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Like
if they would have taken, if they would have taken how much dedication they put into BT story and actually put that into the bosses' stories and the matches, I think they would have actually done a much better campaign than what they did.
Well, see, this is the thing that's problematic to me, is the fact that they have made the decision to. It's great that they have a story, right? And however the story, if it's good, is bad, whatever, that's cool. But the direction that they were going with the multiplayer, because like Mooch said, that is the meat and potatoes. That is what everybody buys these type of shooters for. Mostly is for the multiplayer. And remember, back when they were having the stories for Call of Duty and Battlefield, people were at the time was like, man, I don't even play the story mode. I just go straight to the multiplayer and started playing. Now all of a sudden it's reverse. Right. And they're saying, well, Titanfall needs to have a story. Well, they give the story, but they get too big-headed, and then they change the multiplayer to cater to the COD crowd and to another different fan base. Right. That's what was the problem overall for in my opinion.
And look at the other way around here. If everyone just let's look at the other side of the equation. It's not fair to just use my example. Let's flip it. Uncharted 4. There's still people playing Uncharted 4, the campaign, another time. Again, because typically, does that mean they're Uncharted 4 that everybody hates? Or maybe some people only like the multiplayer. But nobody says, hey, did you play Uncharted 4? Yeah, that multiplayer was sick. Nobody says that. This is just the reverse. Titanfall was built, and if you don't believe me, the first game didn't even have a single player. campaign.
Well, isn't that like Tomb Raider? Because doesn't Tomb Raider also have a multiplayer that nobody?
The first one was.
That was the first one. But that's my point. Each game, and don't get me wrong, that's why Rand made a good point. Rand said, well, that's not why I bought it. Well, he's right. He's speaking for him. And there is a percentage of that pie that is in Rand's camp. But the problem is, and I think the reason you're seeing it is there's definitely a point that it was released between two juggernauts and it got stomped. That goes without saying.
But also, what's the biggest factor to me on top of that is that they're talking more about the single player than they are the multiplayer, which is something that
exactly.
Yeah, and that right there is problematic.
That's the problem.
Yeah, because if you're this game is known for its multiplayer. Why not brag about that? Show the detail and show us gameplay about that instead of showing us the story mode everywhere. You know, that right there is like you put more emphasis on wanting to show everybody that you can make a well-rounded story, but then we're just going to cut back and just give you a limited multiplayer. That's not good.
The media's fault though, and like say not trying to hit on all of us gamers, but you know, we all kind of brought that out as well though, if you really think about it, because we did have Titanfall 1 and we were all happy with it, but one of the biggest complaints that was everywhere was there's no campaign. So this year I think they just kind of pushed
the shit out of the campaign.
Yeah, they kind of took it too far, and we're like, okay, well, they wanted a campaign, we're gonna give them a campaign. And I think they focused too hard on that campaign instead of focusing on, of course, like what everyone is saying, you know, the multiplayer that actually matters for the longevity of the game. And they focused too hard instead of balancing it all out equally.
Right. So
I think that there's different types of people where Titanfall are concerned. There's people like Rand who's more interested just in the campaign. There's people like me who like both, and then there's people like Mooch. Well, I mean, I guess She-Wolf and GKB, you guys are interested in both as well. But Mooch is more just like jump right into that multiplayer and go.
Yeah, and that's just how I was introduced to that genre back in 2007.
I just want to point one thing out. I don't mean to cut you off, Mooch. No, someone in the chat is saying that Titanfall 1 died fast.
Yeah,
no, you can still go play Titanfall 1 and it still has servers going with like a lot of people on it. So Titanfall 1 has not died, and it did not die fast.
Yeah, you know what? Like for me, Titanfall 1, it launched and it was a lot of fun, and then they added to it. Like that game probably should have launched with like private lobbies and things like that right from the start.
Right.
And the fact that they didn't, I don't know.
Well, there's no doubt, crap, that you know, Microsoft probably put a little bit of pedal to the metal there to get them going. They wanted to get that game out, so they were like, just get the game out. It's working soundly. We'll work on all the additives. And listen, they're not the only ones. Respawn's not the only one that did that. Look how many games come out, and then we find out, look at it, Destiny just got private matches now. Yeah. For God's sake. I mean, Doom's getting new updates now for that kind of stuff. And look, those are afterthoughts. These are things, like I said, it all comes down to what the game is. You know, like I said, if Fable 4 comes out, not many people give a shit. If I did a review on Fable 4's multiplayer, you guys would be like, so did you like the campaign or not, dude? You know what I mean? Like each game, my friends at work with me that all bought Titanfall 1 the day it came out, they're like, hey, what's our consensus? Are we all going to go grab Titanfall 2? I said, eventually we're going to be probably all going to get it. I said, right now I got COD, I got this, I got that. And they're like, oh, okay, cool. Like none of them said campaign. They want to play multiplayer.
Yeah.
And like I said, I'm trying to look at it. When I was listening to all these reviews, I was thinking of it as, okay, let's take ourselves out of this world that we are in and that we all hang out with, because we are the minority. We are totally the minority. You know, I mean, you have to remove yourself out of it. Almost, if anyone saw Doctor Strange, pull yourself out of your body for a second and just look at the entire situation from afar. This game is built on principles of multiplayer, and nobody gave the multiplayer any time in their review more than a minute and a half, and they didn't care for it when they did speak of it. So that's the ultimate issue. Besides, it was launched incorrectly. It hit a couple people the wrong way with not obeying by EA, whatever it was, EA, Respawn. Remember something else, people. We're talking about the consumer. The person walking down aisle 9 with a bag of coupons, they don't know if EA didn't pay Respawn or Respawn didn't pay EA. All they know is they bought EA access. Everything that's been going from EA gets the trial period, gets the 10% off. They know that this game was yanked, whether it was yanked because they couldn't. Nobody cares about what negotiations are behind the curtain. All they care about is I didn't get what I paid for. That sent people the wrong way. All these things add up to failure at the end.
Well, especially when you buy EA, and of course, you know, you're not reading the fine lines. Like, it's possible a game may not come to EA. Like, nobody's reading that. They just expect if a game is EA, then it's going to be an EA access. Access, especially if the first one was there, then. You know, it's just what people assumed, and I guess to a point that's all kind of our fault, I guess. But
right. It is. But I mean, they just made a lot of mistakes. They got a big head, and they thought that they could go against the big boys instead of thinking like, well, you know, we're implementing something different and we're also adding it to another console. So it would probably be better for us if we just bring this game out at the same time that we brought out Titanfall 1, kind of make it a tradition. But instead, they just thought that they could just go with the big boys.
I'll defend Respawn on that point, though, Mega. I think that we got to take a look at it. I would blame that's release dates and such are, I think, a little bit more of an EA issue. I don't think Vince came out and said, you know what I'd love? I'd love to be 5 days before Call of Duty comes out.
Hey, well,
so either way, it was a mistake. It was a mistake by whoever done it. And,
right.
And you know, and I understand that they were trying to, you know, but it's kind of, if you look at it like that, then EA is doing a little bit of what PlayStation is doing with all their hardware, you know, just kind of eating their own, you know what I'm saying? They I know they want to dethrone Call of Duty, but you know, you should have just had more faith into Battlefield 1 and then, you know, let the little man sit there and have his time to shine on its own.
Yeah. Speaking of Call of Duty, guys, I am pleasantly surprised by Infinite Warfare.
I'm right there with you, bro.
Yeah, the campaign, I loved it. I just think that it's phenomenal. You know, apparently they brought in Naughty Dog writer to flesh that story out. I think it's great. A lot of people are always down on the looks of the game. I think the game looks graphically amazing. Like, hopefully I'm not the only one here, but I just thought that game looks really great. And it's really well done. Like the whole sci-fi
multiplayer doesn't look all that great.
Yeah,
well, the multiplayer, I mean, look, they're trying to get that game to run, you know, 60 frames per second. So yeah, I mean, I can understand that. But I'm just talking about the single player of that game looks great. The multiplayer I find surprisingly fun, I guess. You know, like some of the maps aren't giant, which I like. You know, Terminal having that map back from Modern Warfare 2, I like that aspect as well. I haven't got the chance to try out the zombies yet, but She-Wolf, you said it's pretty good. So
she didn't.
Yeah, I got yelled at for that one because I really hated on the zombies. I thought it was gonna be stupid with the whole
80s.
I still don't like the characters. I still don't find, like, I don't know. There's just something off about all of them, but like the theme park itself is just awesome. Like, there's huge slides you can go down. There's exploding clowns and the zombies. Oh my god, the details in those zombies when you get close up to them look amazing.
Yeah, I haven't got a chance to play it yet, but just going around, like, Rand, I know you're a big fan of this game. What's your thoughts on Infinite Warfare?
It's the best Call of Duty since probably Modern Warfare 2.
Well, there you go. That's high praise.
I
mean, that's because it's space, and we all know how he feels about space stuff.
I mean, look, yes, the sci-fi setting appeals to my inner child, my inner geek.
Yeah.
But
it works in this game.
See, I think people were hating on it prematurely because they thought that, oh, it's just going to be like Call of Duty in space, but have no reason to be in space. But like, no, there's a justifiable reason why they're there. It literally feels like I got a Battlestar Galactica video game. Like, if somebody would do that properly, this is what it felt like. And it actually, I know Mooch is going to jump down my throat here in a minute. You know, because I play these games for the single players, so when I review these games, I review them for myself and anybody that might feel the same way as me. So when I look at the Call of Duty games, I don't give a fuck about the multiplayer, right? That doesn't matter to me. It might as well not even exist because I'm not going to play it. So what matters to me is the campaign and zombies. I like the zombies mode too, but you can tell they spent a lot of time, a lot of energy, a lot of care, and a lot of money building the campaign. there's a lot of things in there that haven't been done in a video game before. Some people like it, some people don't. What I'm really talking about is the idea of, like, when you pick a mission in normal games, like for instance Modern Warfare Remastered, because it's, you know, I'm playing that right now too. It's like you pick a mission and it's a loading screen, you know, and it tells you, it doesn't even tell you anything. It's just like, okay, you're Soap and you're gonna go here. Oh, and here's the basic gist of the mission. We're sneaking in. We got to get the sun and blah blah blah.
I noticed that too. I didn't remember that it didn't really have cutscenes.
Yeah, because storytelling has gotten better over the past 9 years, and this is the pinnacle of storytelling in a Call of Duty game. Because, and whoever also designed it is a big fan of Mass Effect, because they let you pick. You got your little bridge. You got all the different side characters you can go around and talk to get more a sense of the world that is actually lived in place, that it's actually real, even though it's a video game. That these characters, you know, they have a purpose for being there. They're not just like window dressing. So you go to the starship or the star map, and you have all these different missions. And in true like Battlestar Galactica kind of fashion, it's like we could do the main missions, or you could do these kind of like side missions, and then the side missions be like, well, if you do this, like, we're attacking directly, we're going to kill some high-ranking officials, and then you get a perk. So it's always good to do the side, you know, some of the side missions, because number one, some of them are actually better than the main missions, and they give you worthwhile upgrades. But then you could even go to your captain's like chamber and kind of fuck around in there if you want to, reminiscent of Mass Effect. But what I really like the touch of, like, so you pick the mission, you go to the armory. You know, you have a conversation with, you know, whoever's with you. You go to the armory, he'll say something to you. You make your own loadout, which is great, because I like being able to choose what I want to bring into a mission with me. Then, you know, you go into the flight deck, you have another conversation with somebody, you hop into your plane, you know, you start the plane up, you fucking fly off, and boom, it's like a 2-second cutscene, and then you're in the next mission.
Yeah.
And sometimes they have it where you're flying around, you're killing enemies.
I actually thought it handled
on
well.
Stuff. Yeah, I mean, I thought that. I don't think a game.
The ships, I thought that handled extremely well. Because I suck at that stuff. I was just like, this is really awesome doing the dogfights, and you have a lot more control than I would have thought.
Well,
I thought it was going to be on rails too.
Fighting, though. I mean, it's very basic. It's very limited in what you can do. But I mean, if you were to think, hey, this is what Call of Duty would do, dogfighting. But I love that whole of like, it's not just you pick a mission and it's a loading screen. And you're in the next mission. There's things leading up to it to make it seem like the world and the characters are real, which is maybe why I ended up liking the game as much as I did, because you spend all this time with these characters, and just like you guys said, where BT is the best character in Titanfall 2, the best character in COD is Ethan, the robot.
Yeah,
so,
I like that he doesn't have a robotic voice though. I was just so surprised by how like transfixed I was. I beat it on veteran. I think I beat it in like 8 hours, but I did not stop playing. It was just like, I want to see this through. Like, I'm really invested in the story they're telling, the cinematics, like this whole setting, this idea that like sometime into the future we split off and a remnant of humanity is on Mars, is growing hatred, like basically space Nazis almost, or space Russians or whatever you want to call them, because they speak with Russian accents.
Isn't it kind of funny though, in Titanfall 2 and in Call of Duty, for both campaigns, the best characters were the robots?
Well, I mean, you can do a lot with the robots.
Well, let me chime in real quick, because I want to defend Rand. It's not about Rand what your reviews or anyone's reviews, because your review is your review. It's an opinion, and it holds weight against anybody else's. None of the reviews I saw on Titanfall 2 or Call of Duty, I can't say are bad. None of them are bad. What I'm saying is that we're talking about two different audiences. If we're on the show asking, why did this game do good? Why did this game do bad? We've got to pull ourselves out of these bodies that are these YouTubers and gamers that we are, and what we do as far as reviews, etc., and look at why is it from an analytical standpoint this game didn't do so well. That's where I came up with my answer on Titanfall 2. That's just my consensus, again, from the outside looking in. Nothing that I say was pro or con about the game. I'm saying based on reviews. Now, Call of Duty, again, I just know a lot of people that bought Call of Duty personally, and none of them are playing the campaign. Does that mean that's the status quo? Absolutely not. But that game will do well. And a lot of people write me, they're like, Mooch, look at 50% sales are down in the UK. There's a difference here, okay? Titanfall and Gears, and even maybe Dead Rising and Forza, they have what I call, and I made this as a moochism, it's a game window. Okay, they have a game window. They do very, very well in the first 3-4 days, and then there's a decline. That even counts for Uncharted. It counts for a few different games. But games like Call of Duty are the game. That's the gift that keeps giving all year long. And let me explain.
Like the jelly of the month.
Absolutely. The game came out November 4th. Okay, but do you know how many kids are getting Call of Duty for Christmas? And you're probably going, Mooch, of course I know. No, you really don't. Because Sony won last year's console race because of the Call of Duty package. Microsoft kicked ass the first year in November because of the Call of Duty package. So what I'm trying to say is that this game not doing well days 1 through 5 in sales in the UK, does that mean it's going to do less than Black Ops 3? Don't forget, Black Ops itself carries a stigma with it, okay? This one here doesn't necessarily carry that stigma. It's a new name, Infinite Warfare. No one's bought Infinite Warfare before. So, in a sense, it's got its own identity. So, it doesn't have that pull. Like, Black Ops 2 is so big, so when you put a 3 on, everyone has the nostalgia. I love 2. I must love 3. Yeah. My point
even
being
even though Black Ops 3 was realistically, they must have just like hugged like off the name, because that game was nothing like Black Ops 1,
right? And that's what people felt. Exactly.
Or
exactly.
2.
So I mean, just in short. So what I'm saying is, it depends when we're having these shows. What are we talking? If we're just talking about personal opinions, that's one conversation. But a lot of times what I've noticed is people are like, well, why do you think it's not doing so well? Or why do you think this game is doing so well? I think there's a lot of different things, and that's what I was talking about. So it's not about anyone's I'll be honest with you. I thought that one of the greatest reviews I saw on Titanfall 2 that hit home for me was Maka. I thought Maka's review was interesting. He really kind of praised the campaign, but then he was saying he didn't care so much for the multiplayer. And for him, he wasn't sure if it was a buy, because he said at the end of the day, this game. And if I'm putting words in his mouth, I watched it when he first put it out there. I haven't watched it again. I thought he said it's not. He wouldn't recommend it necessarily for a buy because it's a multiplayer game first, or he was alluding to that. And again, if I'm putting words in his mouth, I apologize. It's been a while. But that when he said that, I'm like, that kind of strikes more on why things are selling the way they are. Battlefield is not going to be remembered. I don't give a crap who liked Battlefield single player. You know, when April comes and someone's still diehard and they have like 450 hours in the Battlefield 1, you're going to be like, did you play the campaign? They're going to look at you funny and go, yeah, I dabbled a little. I dabbled. You want to play or not? You know what I mean? Like, they're just going to be like, it's multiplayer. And that's the thing. And I think Call of Duty is multiplayer focused. This game gives you 2 multiplayer games in this $80 bundle, plus the multiplayer in the zombies. I think what Call of Duty gives you is something called value. You're getting a lot of value for your money with Call of Duty.
I said the $80 for that is the best value going right now.
It really is.
So are you happy you picked it up? Because I know you skipped Black Ops 3, which
I did skip Black Ops 3, which apparently was a good thing.
That was a good thing. Good decision.
I am enjoying it. I mean, it is COD, so I'm not going to sit here and tell everyone, stop what you're doing, run out of the house and go buy it. No, it is what you think it is, but it's polished and it plays very well, and you get a lot for your money.
I agree. GKB, what about you? What is your thoughts on Infinite Warfare? I know you did a video that was pretty interesting about your impressions of it. So give us a rundown of what your thoughts are of the game.
A lot of my sentiments are much like Rand's. I thought the campaign was phenomenal, the best one to date in a COD game for quite some time. I don't know of Modern Warfare. I'd go back. I like Black Ops 2 and all that kind of stuff and campaigns and stuff. But yeah, I thought it was fantastic. I love the characters. I love their motivations. I cared about them. There's some, moments in there that they, the characters, kind of almost go at it a little bit, which was awesome to see. I think Ethan was really cool. He adds that comedic element to the story, which breaks up some of the tension. So that was really great. Again, the side missions are fantastic. I enjoyed them. I preferred the ones where I went on the ships and did stuff over. I thought there was too much flying at sometimes on the side missions. I wanted to do more of the boots on the ground stuff. But I enjoyed the flying. I thought it was going to be much more like on rails and stuff from what we've seen of the early trailers and stuff, but that's totally not. You can completely fly those things, which is fantastic. I love all the in between mission stuff, the bridge. I thought much like Rand was saying about Mass Effect, because that's what it felt like when you were on the ship and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
The multiplayer to me though is an interesting one, because of the movements and everything. Like Black Ops and Advanced Warfare, it has all those same movements in it. But for me, it feels more of a traditional COD in a way of how it moves and the level design, which is interesting, since they have these crazy movements.
Movements feel cleaner in this than they did in Black Ops 3. I will say that much cleaner.
Right. And I think in the level design, is designed in such a way where it really doesn't foster a lot of the jumping around and wall running as much. More, it fosters a lot of the boots on the ground type gameplay, which is interesting. And I thought that was really good. You really only use jumping to like get to different platforms, maybe a little bit of wall running. But most of the games I played, and I played a good fair amount of the multiplayer so far, is everybody's just running around shooting just like a normal COD game. So I thought overall, man, it was a fantastic game. Zombies is amazing.
Yeah, I still got to play that with you guys. I was supposed to play that with like She-Wolf and everybody the other day, but I convinced her to hop on Call of Duty 4 Remastered multiplayer for a little bit first. So yeah, we were kind of like having fun on that. And she's like, I'm not used to it because you can't jump and all this kind of stuff. So.
Well, I also was just playing Titanfall 2, and then I go to freaking
boots on the ground.
Yeah, I'm like trying to like get out of people's way when they're shooting me, and I'm just getting shot in the head instead. I'm like,
and she ended up on the other team on shipment, and
we won. We beat you, motherfuckers.
Dang. I gotta say too, Crap, man. Like I was saying, like we were gonna play like the crap ton of Modern Warfare remastered and stuff, man. And I gotta be honest, I'm gravitating more towards IW than I am.
Well, can I interject? I want to say something because that's a great leeway into what I was saying. I feel like we've been using the words boots on the ground the same way people thought it was cool to say gluten free. What we've got to understand is that you know what I'm saying? Like enough's enough. I mean, people as a whole, we've been living with a lot of gluten for ages, and apparently now it's a thing that just looks cool in aisle 10. Yeah. But what I'm saying is,
it costs like $5 more.
It costs $5 more, and people have been duping each other out like online. They're like, I took the gluten free and I put the gluten in it, and they're fine. So like, all right, whatever. But my point is like we say boots, right? So we say boots on the ground, and we're like boots on the ground, boots on the ground, and it's like, wait a minute. My whole thing is I'm kind of with GKB. Like that's great. It's awesome. I played like 3.5-4 hours of Battlefield 1 on the EA Access, and I was like, shit, I wouldn't mind my boots in the air. Like, I mean, I was like, I'm sorry. No,
I'm going to agree with Mooch here. I think Call of Duty Infinite Warfare is the best.
Yeah.
It's at its best when it doesn't do the boots on ground stuff. I thought the game was at its weakest when it was trying to be previous Call of Duties, like the beginning of the game. Like when you're in the city streets doing typical Call of Duty stuff, I was just like, "This isn't what I wanted." That's
what I said.
And then you get the other stuff like the flying and the the stealth missions through like an asteroid belt and landing on planets with because Crap took a picture. He took the same picture as me, so I know we think alike.
Yeah,
we landed on that one planet with the Saturn in the background.
Dude, you know what that was? You know what was cool about that, Rand, was these are real. That was Titan. I think that's Venus is one of Venus's or actual moons, which is cool because they're using like real like stuff, and I thought that was cool, and it looked fucking good. I was
somebody complained to me is like, I don't know if I like Infinite Warfare. I just want boots on the ground and a modern day setting. And I'm like, dude, like I've played all those games, man. Like I want something new and exciting.
Yeah.
Like and
be careful what you wish for.
But hold on, wait a minute. Now this is where I'm getting confused because, okay, you're coming out and just saying that like this boots in the air shit is
that was me.
New. Oh no, well both because Rand said he agrees.
Yeah.
You both guys were both saying. Yeah, but you act like this is brand new. This is new tech. Oh wow. I'm sorry. We've been having Advanced Warfare. We've been had Titanfall. We've got
Advanced Warfare plays just like an old Call of Duty game. Advanced Warfare is boots on the ground.
I disagree.
No, it's not. I mean,
yes, it is.
You know how you jump in the air?
Yes.
No, absolutely
are you talking multiplayer or are you talking campaign?
I'm talking multiplayer.
Okay, I'm strictly talking campaign. I don't give I've told you guys from the beginning, when I talk about these games, I'm strictly coming at it from either a zombie perspective or a campaign perspective. I could give two shits about the multiplayer.
Okay, well, I'm kicking your ass back in the closet. And I'm going to mooch. I'm not. Look. This is not new tech. This is old, and that's why people want to revert back to the boots on the ground because those were I think that's what was remembered how Call of Duty was great.
Get ready for this. Get ready for this, okay?
Okay. Hold on.
Nostalgia is a hell of a drug.
I find Advanced Warfare was actually probably the best one out of them for the multiplayer, only because of the fact they kept boots on the ground, but at the same time added the technology that made sense. Like they didn't try to like put you in some space outfit trying to jump around.
Advanced Warfare was more like boosting, right? It was just a lot of boosting and like you jump up and you can boost in the air, Halo-ish style.
Yeah, kind of, and also I know that you like the story because that was one of the Call of Duty's best stories to me was the Advanced Warfare. That was great.
And there's zombies. Let's be honest, people. Their zombies had Shane from The Walking Dead. Like
true.
You can't get any better than putting him in with The Walking Dead.
I'm not a big.
I here's the thing. So like I was drinking the Kool-Aid with everybody 12 months ago. And I was like, you know what? Yeah, it's been a really long time since we went boots on the ground. But then I got this Call of Duty, and because of Crap, Crap is like that song that was on Walking Dead the other day. It's stuck in your head. He says to me, you got to play Modern Warfare. It's all about Modern Warfare. I'm in a 10 prestige. I'm in a 100 prestige. And I'm like, you know what? Crap's onto something here. I've heard it so many times in my jail cell here listening to him. And I said, you know what? I got it right. So I'm like, I got to do this. So I do it, and I played it, and I thought it was beautiful. And I'm like, this is nice. And they recreated it really nice, and I don't have any issues. Everything, the mechanics are good. And then I'm playing it, and I'm like, all right, what else is in this game package? You know what I mean? I want to play something else because, I don't know, for some reason, maybe because from 2007 till like 2011, we were stuck on the ground. It was like we had bubble gum on our goddamn feet. We couldn't move off the ground. And you're right. From 11 till 15, 16, people have been trying different iterations. Some have hit big. Some have missed. But I think when it comes down to it, I like the progression route more. That doesn't mean I don't ever want them to make a game with boots on the ground. But we got to be careful as a voice in the community, a voice to the developers. You got to be careful and just wishing. Otherwise, we're going to get another 5 years of on the ground. And trust me when I tell you, that's going to sting you worse. Because at least when you're in the air and you're doing more space type of activity, the sky's the limit. You know what I mean? When you're doing boots on the ground, the limit's the sky. Yeah.
You know what, though? This is what I always thought, Mooch. You have 3 developers, right? Why not have one do like World War II era or something like that? Or
that's the rumor that Sledgehammer's the game next year is a World War II game.
I've also heard Vietnam could be it.
Hey, Mooch.
Yes.
Everyone quiet for 1 second. This is for Mooch.
There it is. Nice. By the way, I'll be saying that now for the rest of the night in my head.
It's stuck in my head now.
That's what Crap did to us. Oh, you don't watch Walking Dead?
My gosh.
Oh no, I haven't seen Walking Dead.
Oh, yeah. That song she just played, which she should have even played longer. That song was played for about 45 minutes of the hour of Walking Dead. It was
because of Daryl. Yeah.
It was basically like, they have water torture and things like that. They were torturing him because the amount of time he was in his cell, nobody knows. It could have been a week, it could have been a day, or it could have been 2 months. And they just kept playing that same song over and over again. And it creeps you out by the end. You're like, fuck that song.
Yeah.
Let me ask you guys this question. Is it bothering, assuming the rumor's right and they are doing some World War II thing for Advanced Warfare, is it kind of just not disheartening, but like weird to see? Okay, so Treyarch continues to do Black Ops. You know when their neck turns up again, it'll be some iteration of Black Ops. But Infinity Ward's like, okay, we tried to do Ghost, didn't work out, didn't sell well. Here's Infinite Warfare, right? I personally would love to see Infinite Warfare 2. I don't know how they're going to do it. But I would love to see it. And then, okay, Advanced Warfare, I thought was pretty good for what it was. Like, I thought it was Kevin Spacey killed it in that game.
Yeah,
like, I would like a sequel to Advanced Warfare. But if they're literally going back to World War II, it means, you can't do Advanced Warfare in World War II, can you? Unless you're doing like an alternate history, thing where you have like, which would be cool. Like, see, that'd be okay. If we're gonna go back to the past. I know Battlefield 1 just did it, but hey, we never played a World War I game, so I was kind of cool with that. But if we're going back to the past, give me something like Wolfenstein, where it's like alternate history with changes or something like that. You know, I played through all the World War II.
They could do that, Rand, because they could do like a steampunk kind of thing where the steam power drives the exos and all that kind of stuff.
I would like that. You would like that because it would be something new. It's like, okay, it's World War II, but with a twist.
Right.
It's not the exact same. Maybe things go different.
The Tommy gun and all those other guns that you
But of course, I just find it weird that like none of the Call of Duties can get like, because they want a Ghost to be a franchise within Call of Duty. They want Advanced Warfare
left it open
to be
for
a franchise.
sequel.
Right. I mean, and Infinite Warfare, I'm dying for a sequel. I would love to see where they could take that game and that universe and build upon it for 3 years from now. Mm-hmm. But like when we talked about the sales, like 50% down from Black Ops 3, the worst selling opening weekend for a Call of Duty game since Modern Warfare 1. It doesn't really scream confidence that, I don't know. I mean, Activision's probably thinking like, fuck, what are we going to do? Well, okay, so next year's game is probably going to come mastered, a copy of Modern Warfare 2 remastered, right? Or maybe World at War remastered, because I mean, I don't know that people bought this one. I think I think Activision, they may have thought the game was going to be good, but I don't think they thought people were going to be happy with it or buy into it. So it's like, we'll give them Modern Warfare, the game that they want, the game they've been asking for. Right. But once you include that, so for $80, we get Infinite Warfare, which turned out to be a fantastic game, really, really fantastic. Then you get one of the best campaigns and best multiplayers for an extra $20, like you said before. That's insane value for what it all. Yeah, it's kind of shady. They won't sell it separately, but when they do sell it separately, don't be surprised if they sell that game for $50 by itself or $60, because Activision's going to get their money. Don't doubt that, right? Yeah.
So I think they'll sell it for $50 just so they can say that it's not the full price of a new release.
Even still, $50. For you could have gotten Infinite Warfare and this, but then it's like, okay, next year's Call of Duty, Advanced Warfare 2, which didn't light this, the sales starts on fire. Is Activision gonna be like, you know what? From this point going forward, we're remastering Modern Warfare 2, and then for the Black Ops games for Black Ops 4, we're like, we're gonna include Black Ops 1 remastered to go with Black Ops 4.
Or Black Ops 2, because that one never came backwards.
Would be remastered for Black Ops 6 or whatever.
That's true.
They're gonna eventually. I don't know, because it almost seems like they set themselves up. Like, you offer this thing for $60 and $80, and then you come out with a game next year and it doesn't have that. It's like, well, it doesn't look as good as a value proposition. Like, I'm happy with the $80 purchase of Infinite Warfare. I got two great games. Absolutely. And I'm like, all right, now next year, it's like, I would love to see what they're gonna do. I would be disappointed if Call of Duty, if they made up a new one and didn't go with the Advanced Warfare again.
Does that come down to Activision's I'm trying to think of a word. Oh my god, I just lost the word I was trying to say. Is that actually Activision's choice to do this, or is it actually the games that are, like, for instance, the fact that Advanced Warfare is the next one with Sledgehammer? Would it actually be Sledgehammer's decision whether or not that they can include these remasters, or is it all Activision?
Remasters is all Activision. Okay. Sledgehammer wouldn't have anything to do with the remaster, because if you look at the remaster for Call of Duty 4, it's Certain Affinity, Raven, Beanox,
High Moon Studios.
Yeah, okay, so regardless, it comes all down to Activision.
But Sledgehammer's game has been in development for 2 years now, because next year.
Now here's what I'm thinking, right? Because I'm with you, Rand. Like, I love that the Advanced Warfare campaign. I thought the multiplayer was pretty good. And here's also another thing. Actually, looking back on Ghosts, I actually liked that campaign a lot too.
That campaign was great.
If they would have done a multiplayer on that where you had a traditional UAV, I probably would have loved that game. Right, but the fact that you had these nobody would use them, those little UAV things that you set out, and you needed 3 other people that set them out at the same time to get a UAV, like that was totally lame, because nobody I know was wanting to run with that. Like, I like to run with UAV because I just like that you know what I mean?
I think the one thing that killed Ghost was the fact that the maps was too big and they didn't have enough player versus player. If they, because that's what everybody was getting excited about when they was doing the transition to the X1 and to the PlayStation 4, was hoping that they were going to have more players on the map. And that's what, and I think that game would have thrived if they had, like, an 8v8 or 12v12 especially on that map with the castle and everything. They would have killed it. But that was the biggest problem for it, because I think everybody that's played that enjoyed the story of Ghost. you know, and I want to kind of get back, I want to kill that guy because that dude, he would not die. He was annoying as hell. I want to get that dude to find out what he did with my brother, but man,
spoiler alert. Oh well, that was years ago. Who gives a shit?
Yeah, that was years ago, man.
We're never gonna know, man.
Yeah, never gonna know. But
hey, you know what? Well, you haven't got Call of Duty, the new one yet, though, have you, K Mega?
No, and I don't have Titanfall either. But I'm gonna have to break down and get one of them now. Now the Call of Duty has got. Hold on, wait a minute. The Call of Duty now because I'm being serious because I said I was gonna get Titanfall, but I've seen that they had my boy Jon Snow in COD, and I'm a huge Game of Thrones dude. Like Game of Thrones is life to me. So I'm like, man, well, COD is here.
Or you can just wait till Black Friday and just get both of them for $60.
He's barely in it, man. He's barely in the game.
What? But still, it's still Jon Snow. I like to support, what I'm saying, my boy. But anyway, but I do want to play the old school Black Ops, the COD 4, because it looks fantastic for everything that I've seen. I'm just not interested into the Infinite Warfare part. I like, what I've seen of Titanfall 2. The story looks intriguing, but the multiplayer does not seem anything like what it was from Titanfall 1. So I'm like, damn, which one do I get? So
COD.
Or again, just wait for the sale. Honestly, everyone should just wait for Black Friday. Now, the Call of Duty with the remaster probably won't go on sale, or if it does, it won't be as cheap. But Titanfall 2, Target's gonna have it there for $35.
Yeah.
So Titanfall 2, you might as well just wait for that and get it on sale for Black Friday because they've already released Black Friday flyers and it's $35.
$35 for Titanfall 2. Recore is going to be $15. Mafia 3, Gears 4, Skyrim Remaster, all $29.99.
Oh, really? Mafia for $29?
Yeah, Target's
gonna have it. I didn't see that. I didn't see that. All right.
But for K Mega though, if you're not interested in the multiplayer for Titanfall, just Redbox it, dude, and just play the campaign. You can literally play it in a day.
Yeah.
But I mean, you could say that's the same thing for COD. If you're not interested in the multiplayer for COD, you could just Redbox it and beat the campaign. And
but see, I'm a big commitment guy. This is one thing about with Black Ops 3 that annoys me because I didn't buy but one set of DLC for it. And I like to commit to a game, but I know with COD after the second DLC map, it's pretty much dead. People don't really play it as much, and I want to go all out and get all the maps. So that's the one thing that holds me back with COD because I know a lot of people are not going to be playing the Infinite Warfare side. Now I know that they'll murder the COD 4. So maybe that will give me some longevity, and then I heard that they're going to give the extra maps on COD 4 as well
in December for free.
Yeah. So I'm kind of intrigued by that because, like you said, Crap, it seems like really good value.
Mm-hmm.
But with Titanfall, I mean, it's already pretty much. It seems like it's belly up already.
Yeah, I wouldn't expect that. That's why I said if you were which one should I get? I would say Call of Duty for the fact that you get 2 campaigns, 2 multiplayers. People are going to be on that multiplayer.
Yeah, it's gonna have legs for a while.
For a long time. Titanfall 2 is even myself, even though I like that multiplayer a lot, I've been mostly playing the Call of Duty 4 stuff because that's and a little bit of Infinite Warfare because that to me is just more fun. I guess you know what I mean. I'm already almost first prestige. I'm not going to prestige though, Mooch. I know we kind of had a bet, but they changed it to 20 prestiges, and I'm not going through.
In February, I want to see that video.
There is not.
I'll take a video.
There has to be the I love Mooch video.
Let's not. We don't have to say that. We can just say I respect Mooch.
No, it's supposed to be the whole.
I respect Mooch.
Listen, there's 20 prestiges instead of the 10, and not only that, but I forgot what a pain in the ass it is. I know, but I forgot what a pain in the ass it is to lose all your stuff. Every time you prestige, all my stuff, all my.
I don't think there's. I mean, unless you're just diehard, I think getting to the first prestige is by far.
I'm already almost there, but
you're good.
People just love filling up bars over and over again.
Yeah, right. Yeah. It's
me fill up a bar 1 time, 2 times, 20 times, 20 times.
But getting back to the whole Mega thing, in preference to I think a lot of us, I'm not speaking for all of us, but I would probably say for your money's worth, when it comes down to it right now, for how much you're getting with the games when you're comparing the two together, you're better off just to get the COD and everything that's coming with that for the price range, and then just get Titanfall either like with Black Friday sale, or I'm sure there'll end up being a New Year sale, and I'm pretty sure you'll probably see this game on sale quite a bit. So,
or just wait.
Well, normally I would always recommend whatever your friends are going to play is probably the game you should pick up. If all your friends are playing Titanfall 2, then that should be the game you get. If all your friends are playing Call of Duty, then that's the game you should probably get.
Unfortunately, I don't think anybody's friends are playing Titanfall 2.
No.
I got
like I got a shout out to 100. He's the only
100
and Tax are the only two people out there. I hear him playing, and it sounds like they're having some fun. And then they stop and go away, and then they're like, "Nigga, you want to play the 2K or Madden or something?" So it's
I played Titanfall 2, the multiplayer, for quite some bit. I always had fun playing the multiplayer. I mean, there's core changes I didn't like. Like I don't think I liked Titanfall 1 as much, or I shouldn't say that. I didn't play it as much as you guys. But there's two core changes I did not like to what they did with Titanfall 2's multiplayer. The one, the battery thing.
Yeah.
I hate that. I don't think it's I just don't get it. I don't like the fact that your Titans don't regenerate their shields. And I get what they're going for with like, oh, enemy Titan jumps in, and if you steal the battery, they're really damaged, and then you could bump up your own Titan or someone else's Titan you're on team. But I didn't like that. But the biggest change I didn't like is the fact that you can't change your Titan loadout. It's either you choose the type. Like, okay,
but you can in a single player.
Right, but it works for the single player, and that's great. Like, I love being able to switch, at the fly in the campaign. But like in the multiplayer, it's like, well, maybe I want the chassis of Ronin with the machine gun of Legion and all this stuff.
Powers.
Yeah, I don't want to be like, okay, I'm Scorched now, and I can only use these weapons. Like,
and you're slow ogre Titan.
Yeah, and it's like, nah, man. Like, I didn't. That's
what I like, Ren. Like, I don't know how you felt about it, but that's kind of one of my complaints by playing through the campaign as well. Like, why can I do it in a Vanguard Titan and change to everything, but I can't do it in the multiplayer? It just didn't.
I don't know why they decided that in the multiplayer. I mean, I maybe because the first game you only had 3, so it wasn't that big of a deal. In this game, they added, I think there's 7 of them.
It could be a balancing issue or something like that.
So they're like, well, we have these 7 Titans, and we want people to use them all. I don't know. I mean, who fucking knows what they were thinking with?
Yeah.
I mean, as much as I love the single player, and you guys know I do. Like, I've talked extensively about it, but like, they've made some serious oversights with this game. Number one being like the release date, first and foremost, is a fucking black eye. And whatever genius at EA or at Respawn decided, yeah, this is a good day, like, you probably should be fired, because your game is going to, like, Titanfall 2 should have been a fucking instant hit, right? We shouldn't be talking about this thing where it's like, it's not only released on PlayStation, so it's accessing a bigger user base. There shouldn't be fucking headlines to be like, well, even with the addition of 47 million consoles, it's sold
less than
a quarter of what it sold on Xbox One originally. Like, that shouldn't happen at all. So somebody should be fired for that, right? And then the multiplayer changes, like the 2 I just mentioned. Like, are you serious? Like, I mean, okay, if you slow down,
as much as I don't mean to cut you off for a minute, Ran. But just to add on to like your whole release date thing, I know you guys on TXR and stuff were talking about the whole EA Access thing, but that still has a lot of effect when it comes to Titanfall 2. Not because of the 10 hours, like whatever they want to change that, fine. But my issue was the fact that they gave the discount at first. People had it, and then they took it away. They didn't.
No, I mean, I said that was shitty. That was one of the things where something was up with that game, because the discount was applied as soon as that game was shown off at E3. They put it up for pre-order, and you could get it for the price of EA Access. So at some point there was a communication breakdown, because Microsoft thought it was going to be an EA Access because they were offering it with the discount. But then I was told Microsoft doesn't set store prices for games. They get the store prices from the publishers, which means EA told Microsoft to price the game at $53.99, which is the price of EA Access.
So which is funny, because like a lot of people were hitting at me and GKB because of the fact that when we canceled our pre-order, they were like, "Oh, you guys are just mad because you didn't get." We had the bonus. We actually had that, like, the discounted price when we canceled our pre-order. So it's just, I thought that like just adds into your whole, you know, where the release date was, and then just everything shady they did.
They didn't honor the discount even if you bought it beforehand, right?
Hey man, Zappella is an habitual line stepper when it comes to contracts. Have you not seen what he did when he got fired at Activision, and then now what he's did here?
Good point.
Yeah, but didn't they win that lawsuit against Activision though?
I think so. That's why I think that's kind of how Respawn got started. But regardless, that's how he got fired, because he breached his contract. So this dude is an habitual line stepper. I mean, come on.
He line steps habitually.
Yeah.
I mean, I forget the whole story about it. I remember just hearing about like how police came.
He was called insubordinate. Basically, he was an insubordinate worker. Look, like, you can understand it a bit. Here's the problem with, like, Activision was very kind of scummy. Like, if you look at what Treyarch, they didn't want to be locked into doing Call of Duty every other year. They hated it. Activision owns them though, so they had no choice. So a lot of people left Treyarch. Infinity Ward, same thing. Basically, Infinity Ward was like, okay, look, we want this just to be called Modern Warfare, its own series. And Activision's like, no, we're going to keep the Call of Duty name on there. Because originally Modern Warfare 2 was just going to be called Modern Warfare 2. And that's kind of what Infinity Ward wanted. They wanted their own thing. And then Activision was like, no, blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? So, yeah, you're right, though. Like, Vince Zampella, I'm not a fan of his, and we're probably going to trigger Mooch by talking about him.
Not at all. Not at all. Actually, I want to change subjects. Staying on subject, but not on Vince or any of none of the controversy that's clouding Titanfall 2. I want to look at something, because we've all talked about this so much, not tonight, but I mean over the past few weeks. We haven't looked at an interesting column and row on this Excel spreadsheet. PlayStation 4 was supposed to be the savior of Titanfall. If Titanfall came out on PlayStation 2, things would be so different. Sales would be through the roof. This game would be a household name. Bullshit. And let's leave Titanfall and Respawn alone for a minute. This just shows you the Sony unfaithful. And you're going to go, Mooch, please stop with that. I have Exhibit B I would like to bring up to the stand. And that, my friends, is Rise of the Tomb Raider. Which
I'm just going to say that.
Sold awful on PlayStation. If Laura came home, that home had no power and the fire went out a long time ago. Let me tell you right now, this is what I'm saying. If the developers do ever listen to these shows, please take this with some warning. I'm not saying Xbox fans buy everything in droves, but we buy more than the Sony fans do. I'm telling you right now, we do. Aaron came out in January, or if it wasn't, it was the first week in February of 2016.
Actually, it wasn't even that late. He was still in
I think it was November. It's right. Yes, he came. Yeah. No, I'm going to even say it was the beginning of the new year. Okay, a month and a half. And they sold 1 million copies on Xbox One. That hasn't sold that yet on PlayStation 4 with the 875 million PS4 sales that are out there, according to Sony. So my point being is that Titanfall did better when it was on a single platform. I shouldn't say single, but PC, Windows 10 and Xbox One. And it did than it did on PlayStation when PlayStation. Nobody on PlayStation is all talk. The fans are like the executives. The executives are like the fans. Finkel is Einhorn. Einhorn is Finkel. Okay? So what I'm trying to say here is enough with this nonsense. Start to listen to more of cater. It's okay, devs. You can cater to the Xbox. Okay? Green is sexy. Okay? It's the color of money. It is sexy. So what I'm saying is, and that's not just a jab at the disc. I'm just saying we have to stop with it, because when Titanfall came out only on Xbox back in March of 2014, everybody and their parents was like, imagine how good this would have done if PlayStation could have got it. And then Lara Croft comes out in Rise of the Tomb Raider. Can you imagine that? PlayStation's where she was birthed, for God's sake. And now it comes out.
I'm picturing PlayStation giving birth to Tomb Raider. That's
I mean, my point being here, they don't even have any games. There's no games, and they're not even buying that, and that's an exquisite game.
That's a great game.
And that's a perfect point. I can tell you guys right now, after having played, yes, I played No Man's Sky, put out a review today. If you didn't watch it, you should go watch that. I got to tell you, Mooch, you were right. It cured my insomnia completely. I shit you not. Within 10 minutes.
Crap. Yeah, you know what, crap? You know what's funny? I watch everyone's videos. I do. I give everyone in the community the fair shake. I watch everything you put out. Crap, this is one of the first times and since I've ever stumbled upon your channel, I had to shut that damn video off halfway through because it was so boring. I was driving. If it wasn't for those fucking markers on the side of the road that rumble your tires, I wouldn't be here tonight. That game puts people into comas. It is a waste of milk. But go ahead, and I hope people review your.
Well, yeah, you know what? Like I was explaining in that game, like I wanted to give it a fair chance, but I wasn't going to pay $60 for it. I paid $8 for it used. Like it could have been cool, like exploring and stuff. I dig that, but the fact that you literally have to mine things to keep your suit, like you're mining stuff to get fuel. But then while you're doing that, you also have to mine other stuff to keep your life support and everything. It's like constant. And then you got to mine to keep your mining laser going to refuel that. Like it's literally just constant, mining, like hitting stuff. And then like, oh my gosh, it was literally the worst game I played this year. No lie, like terrible, just awful. But anyway, I want to change the subject a little bit because honestly, we've been talking about which games we rarely do, which is games. You know what I mean? And like I want to get into something interesting. That is the Doom Dev id Software says that Xbox Scorpio should go for 1080p 60 frames per second. Oh, She-Wolf, come on. That's not really hardware. I'm just saying that id Software says that Xbox Scorpio should go for 1080p 60 instead of 4K. Personally, I think that they should just give the option, sort of like the PS4 Pro's doing.
Did you guys watch any of the PS4 Pro videos that have come out lately?
I did.
It's awfully confusing for people. Is it confusing for us on the panel? Probably not. Is it confusing to people who are out there with $400 in their pocket and they're like, oh, it looks like I have a high fidelity option, a games per frames per second option. I have a 4K option. Like the consumer doesn't want that. So whatever it is, whether it be the folks from id or any developer, I think that you have to look at it again with my chef analogy when you go to a restaurant. You don't go to a 5-star restaurant and then tell the chef, you could use a little more A1 sauce, don't you think? I mean, you paid, all right? The dev is the creator, okay? Let them decide, and I think Phil said this. Let them decide. What I don't like is when they were showing the PS4 version of Rise of the Tomb Raider on the PS4 Pro, they did the 3 scenarios. Here it is in high fidelity. Here it is in 4K. Here it is at 60 frames, 1080p. And it's like, we learned this, right? When you go to a diner, there's everything in the world on there. You can have eggs at midnight or you can have a steak at 8 a.m. But usually both are just mediocre because everything's in there. Don't give us mediocre across the board. Make the game as you see fit with the hardware you have and give us the best experience possible. If it happens to be 1080p 60, good for you. I'll play it. If it's 4K 60, good for you. I'll play it. But just make sure when we get it, it's not broken. That's all. I mean, this is insane to give everybody 8 options on a video game. It's ridiculous.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, I agree. Like GKB, I heard you talking about this earlier today. What's kind of your thoughts on that? Because I know you got some strong feelings.
Yeah, I don't know. Like as Mooch was talking about, like the PS4 Pro videos, they were all like 1440p resolution, and I think that's kind of like the sweet spot for both of these consoles. I think coming out, as you've seen, like the comparison between the PS4 and the PS4 Pro, there was nothing changed fidelity-wise inside the game. It was exactly the same game. It was just up-res and maybe a little bit of frame rate here and there. I don't want that personally. I agree with the dev saying 1080p 60. Use the power for bigger, better games. The problem is that they're going to be still building these games for the PS4 and the base Xbox One. Yeah. So they're only going to be able to do so much. So really, the Scorpio and the Pro is really just going to be up-reses with the same graphic fidelity as the others. And I had a really good, great conversation with the community about that. And a lot of them are on board with kind of what I was saying. There was some that, 4K 60. And I totally get that. And that's great. But remember, 4K is just a resolution gate, and it's not graphics. Like, the big thing to take away from
better graphics, though, right? No, I'm just sorry. But no, I hear you. Like for me, I think it'd just be an option for multiplayer. We're screwed either way because you're right. We're not getting a next generation console that's going to have its own exclusive. At least probably not for a couple years.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So everything that's going to and the multiplayer has to match up with the multiplayer of the base Xbox One. Even though like the Xbox One S runs technically better. You know what I mean? People are already freaking out because like Infinite Warfare multiplayer, I guess the frames drop more on the base Xbox One than the S. So, you know what I mean? Like that could be an issue, you know, like you have to be careful, especially when you're doing the multiplayer stuff. For me, I like the options. You know what I mean? I'm like Mooch. I agree with you. I don't want a PC thing where I got to sit there and have a slider and do that. But maybe just give me 2 options.
Well, you know why? Let me make it simplistic though. The reason my main reason behind not liking it is if I'm playing the game through on 1080p 60 and I'm enjoying it, and then I'm like the whole time I'm playing it, I'll be like, I wonder how that 4K looks. So I switch it over. Then I'm like, oh, I kind of missed the 1080p, like or the 60 frames. My point being is like the options are gonna mess with your emotions when you're playing on one. They each have a strength. That's the problem. It's not like you're like, well, no, Mooch, each one's an easy progression upward. No, it's not, because 1080p 60 and the other one is 4K 30. So it's not fair. You're robbing Peter to pay Paul. So what I'm saying is that's not the way to it. If you do that, it's very confusing. It's just not fun. Whenever you're playing one of those modes, part of your mind will be like, should I switch it over to the other one? You know what I mean? So, and that's not how it can work. Like when a consumer brings something home, they want it to work in a certain fashion. And especially console gamers, you know, give us the difference if you want like anti-aliasing on or this and that off, or I want my whatever. I've never PC game, but whatever they give you on the like making the game, you want to tweak it yourself a little bit, like just tweak it a little bit. But the essentials, the core fundamentals are the same. Do that. That's fine. Like, but don't make it so I have to.
Don't make it super complicated.
It changes the experience.
We're console gamers. I get you. Yeah. And I agree. Look, like you know what the funniest thing for me is I have a pretty good monitor. It's a good like 1080p monitor or whatever. So and I'm looking at these pictures, right? They're like PS4 Pro difference for Rise of the Tomb Raider. Here's the enhanced, and here's the 4K. And I'm looking at these 3 things, and I'm squinting, and I'm backing up, and I'm getting close. I can't fucking tell a difference between any of these goddamn things. And I'm starting to think, are we crazy? Like, like honestly, are we crazy?
No, you're not crazy, crap, because it goes back to what I was saying, is that they're built for the base game. I mean, the base PS4, and then it's just up-resing to a higher resolution. There's nothing changed graphically or fidelity-wise inside the game.
If you guys want to depict crazy, just go ahead and read IGN. read IGN's review of it when the last 3 paragraphs are negative. And then they're like, but it's great, 8.5. Next, and you're like, wait, what? Like that's what I found to be really crazy.
To be fair, though, they gave an 8.5 to the Xbox or the PS4 Slim as well.
Right.
So I mean, they're not. I don't think that's like a glowing endorsement. If you look at a lot of what like look at CNET's thing, they're like, yeah, you know, it's kind of powerful, but the frame rate, there's no improvements in any game that's not patched for this thing. So a typical game, like unlike the Xbox One S. Right, even that has improvements if there's dynamic res or the frame rates can be improved without a patch or anything. Right, with the PS4 Pro, there's no improvements whatsoever unless they patch it specifically. So you're not even going to have a sturdier frame rate in an average game. They're only going to have something they say like 30 games or whatever. And it does piss me off that the HDR thing, like why am I the only one like sniffing this out? Like, look at the difference between HDR games on Xbox One S and HDR games on PS4 and PS4 Pro, right? Infinite Warfare is HDR on PS4, not on Xbox One. Like, why are these fucking developers putting HDR on PS4 but not Xbox One? It's like the Xbox One has 5 games, well, now 6 because World of Tanks got an HDR update. But what is the deal with that? Is there like something going on? There's like the developers jumping on the Sony pony train. Like, what the hell is the deal with that in and of itself? But you know, like this is very annoying to me. Like, I think that there should be 2 options: 1080p 60 or 4K 30 or 60 or whatever they can do. You know what I mean? Like,
as far as the Pro goes, as far as like, you know, there's no frame rate for like the base games that aren't, you know, getting the patch and all that kind of stuff. And that's due to the, you know, stacked GPU that they have. You know, they have 2 of the same one on top of each other. And one essentially shuts off when it's playing the base game that's not patched. So that's why you're still getting the same, you know, frame rates and everything as the base PS4. Because it's only using one of the GPUs.
I agree. Hey, all you lazy bastards watching, hit the like button, would you? Like, we're up to like 350, and y'all sitting there on your asses not hitting that like button. It helps the channel out tremendously. I love eBay Gang. Mooch loves e-bagging.
Sure.
GKB and She-Wolf love e-bagging. Everybody in here loves e-bagging. And I'm glad I started the trend.
We got a new one for K-Mega. One guy X wrote, Mo Pro, Mo Problems.
Oh!
Send that shit to Hades.
Yo, Mo Pro, Mo Problems. Yo,
I
like
I'm
it.
sorry,
like
Kay. Yo, that shit is good.
This is
Red,
just getting out of control, man. Y'all gotta stop. You guys gotta stop. This is getting ridiculous. This is like me seeing clowns and people dressing up like clowns, man. This is
I know,
control.
right?
Yeah.
Stop.
I don't get it. What happened?
It's a
VGST thing. Like Mooch came up with this thing called PS4. He said that the PS4 Pro slogan should be PS4 Pro does just a little bit mo. And K-Mega was like, nah, man.
K-Mega hates
he's like, send that shit to Hades because that's his kind of thing. So we've been kind of saying that a lot. I actually like the saying. Everybody's like,
oh, I know. I just figured I would have you guys repeat it so he has to hear it all over
again. This cold-blooded.
like Grant, what is your thoughts on that, man? Because I know you got like a 4K TV and stuff. I mean, do you like the options? Do you think they should keep it simple?
I don't know, to be honest with you.
Because this will come up for Scorpio.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Honestly, I don't know until I see what it's like for me whenever I get Scorpio and see how it's implemented. So right. I mean, options are cool. Like, you know,
Well, Rand, you're a good example, though. Let me ask you a question. I'll pose the question different to you. Okay, so you are the man with the million. You get your achievement scores, and you've always said, you're like, dude, I really sometimes don't have time to go back and play through again. I've thousanded the game. I'm moving on. So now, if Scorpio, or in this case Pro, for today's conversation, because I don't know what Microsoft's plan is, it's not fair to say Scorpio, but we're assuming they follow suit. So now you have the option when you take a game home come next December, and you take it home and you're like, okay, 4K 30 or 1080p 60, which are you picking? And after you get done playing, are you going to be like, shit, I wish I experienced it the other way? That's my problem.
I guess it would be dependent on the game. Like if 60 frames mattered in the type of game you were playing,
right? Or
if the visuals warranted the 4K. I don't know. Honestly, like I would probably try it out on one of the titles, like say if COD Infinite Warfare, just as an example, like I would be like, all right, I'm gonna try this out in 4K 30. I'm gonna see what it looks like, see what it plays like, and then I'd be like, all right, let me try this out in 1080p 60. See what it looks like, see what it plays like. Mm-hmm. I mean, technically though, you have a 4K TV, so even if wouldn't it still be upscaled to 4K? Even if you were
it would still be. I guess there's just like I don't know. It's that whole weird thing like that I was talking about because I study this stuff and I know some people are like, crap, you must be full of crap, man. I'm sitting there looking at this. Maybe I got 20/20 vision. I cannot see the damn difference. That's why when people are like, are you getting a PS4 Pro? And I'm like, hell no. Like, what the hell for? You know what I mean? Like, honestly, what the hell for?
Well, Rand, let me give you an example because you're right. It does depend on the game. Let's say we're talking about you have a PS4 Pro right now. You're only going to play the game through once, and you're playing Rise of the Tomb Raider. Are you playing it 4K 30 or 1080 60?
Or 1080 30 because the 1080 60 version, apparently that's supposed to the Xbox 360 version.
Yeah,
like,
yeah, exactly.
Ring for you, Mooch. You predicted it.
Yeah, it's the old port. The old port's back again. But let's say it's not that, Rand. Let's say it is a solid 1080 60 versus a 4K 30 in a game like Rise of the Tomb Raider. I know what I would pick, but what would you pick? You're not going to play it twice.
I don't know. The 60 frames per second, if it's actually a solid locked-in frame rate, is pretty tempting.
I'm with you there. That's I lean towards the 60. I'll take 60 frames, 1080p all day.
Hold on, if it was the thing, like I would do that 1080 60 on that, but maybe not Tomb Raider though. Maybe like for Call of Duty probably, but Tomb Raider I'm okay with 30 on like the adventure type games. You know, I don't know. Like to me, I'm okay with that. I think racing games should be 60. And I think fighting games should be 60, and I think first-person shooter.
Well, see, I would love and adore, and I can't wait because Rod Ferguson's already come out and given it to us. I believe on day one, when I come home day one, yes, I'm going to be buying any new game that comes out with the launch of the Scorpio, but I will be playing Gears 4 campaign again on 60 frames because that's going to be a thing of beauty.
Right.
Yeah.
That's the thing for me is that I am kind of in the category of wanting to have options, because just like with your PC, you can do the anti-alias and things like that. So like for racing games, like you were saying, for fighters, I want them to be at 60 frames, sports games, 60 frames per second. You can have that option to slide it or whatever. And then for games that's more graphically demanding, I could go down and have it at 30 frames. Which, I'm saying, it's not going to diminish the experience because you're going to be looking at the game visually. And so if you can have those options, I think that's cool. And then you also got to put consideration about the people that have just 1080p televisions that's not going to be able to get a 4K just yet. And, hopefully they'll have some kind of automatic thing or something kind of like the Xbox One S. Where if you have a 4K television, it'll enhance the HDR and all of that. But if you don't, then you can still maybe have that option of just getting, not even need the option. It'll just be automatically 1080p 60 frames per second. If it could, I know that sounds complicated, but I mean, I'm sure it could work. If you could do that on your PC, I'm pretty sure the Scorpio can have that type of tech to where that would work as well. So, I think it's a benefit to have those options.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I love the options option. You know what I mean? I don't think that they should be paying. And I think Phil hears this. I mean, I don't know. Maybe somebody listens to some of what the hardcore community are saying, and I like the idea of having the option to kind of pick between the two. You know what I mean? Like, because you're right, dude. Like some people are going to want to get the latest and greatest, but maybe don't have a 4K TV, or you know what I mean? Like I think that more and more people will by then. I think actually Scorpio comes out at a really good time because so many people are going to be getting 4K TVs this holiday and leading up to that. Like
I made a decision, crap, and it was hard. Tim Dog actually, he's the one that planted it in my head, and then I was like, oh man, he said it. I'm waiting till next year because I'm just going to do a Scorpio 4K bonanza next year because I'm just, technology is moving so goddamn fast that I feel like next year they're going to be like, you didn't wait till this, bro. And I'll be like, fuck, and it's like, I don't know why I went California on you guys. My apologies in advance.
It kind of sound like you went hippie. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, well, that's California. Right. One and the same, Kay. One and the same. Well, it is. It's true. But yeah, no, I think next year is the year to do the whole kit and caboodle. I mean, there are going to be some stellar 4K TV deals this holiday. I mean, you're going to see like, I mean, I might even put my own foot in my mouth if that 8000 series gets like around $1,000 for the size, the 65-inch or something like that. Because right now it's sitting at 1600. But if they drop that down, shoot, that's just a TV you could pick up. You could probably even sell that for $500 in a year. You know what I mean? Like that's a no-brainer. So, but if you're just holding out for like a mega set, like you want to go crazy, I'm waiting because I'm going to do the whole thing in one shot. I'm going to do the Scorpio and the TV all in one shot.
Well, see, that's what pissed me off because when I went to go get my 8000, they didn't have it in stock. I was like, man, I don't want to wait. I don't want it to be delivered and I have to wait 3 to 5 days. I want this TV now. I've been saying I'm going to get this TV, and you know how people are.
I don't blame you.
Up. They're like, K-Mega, I thought you was going to get the TV. I thought you was going to be K-Mega 4K.
Fighting myself.
Yeah. So, man, but I
next thing you know, there's exposed videos because K-Mega don't got his 4K TV.
Exactly. So, therefore, I had to, I got, and that's why I got this damn Sony, but I will say this. Man, 4K is the truth. I mean, I keep going back to Forza, but oh my God, but man, going to see Rise again in 4K, like exactly. That's how that made me feel. Like ding dong.
I don't know if that was for you, K-Mega.
Thank you.
Brother Don.
Yeah, I see. I see some stuff flickering. What's up, Don?
What's up, guys?
What's
up?
What's going on?
Hey, how's it going, bro?
Not too bad. You guys are talking about resolution talk, and it's driving me nuts.
Oh, no.
Oh, why?
Here's the thing. So people get all worried about, like, options this, option that, but how many PC players, and I'm just going to pick on PC players for a little bit here, when they're given all the options, do they really know how to make the game look the best that it possibly can versus, say, somebody that maybe worked on the game for 3 or 5
that's my point. Exactly.
Yeah. So this is kind of, here's the thing. So frame rate, I understand the argument on frame rate because that's the 2 bangs for your buck, right? It's a visual improvement, and people like what it does for the gameplay, right? But all the other visual stuff, anti-aliasing, the lighting effects, and when people say, "Hey, this is run," I'm using air quotes, ultra settings. Ultra doesn't mean the same thing on every game. It doesn't mean the same thing on every engine. It's just the options that developer decided to give PC players just to make them fired up and excited, and they're kind of like, "Hey, this is your problem. We're not going to optimize for your hardware. You need to figure it out."
Yeah. So
when you have, go ahead. Sorry.
Well, Mike, I'm just curious. Like, so you, what are your thoughts on like the options then for console gamers?
I don't think I mean, no offense to console gamers or anything like that. That's not what you buy a console for, right? I mean, we buy it to plug in our game and just do it. Now, I do think they should optimize for the display that you have, right? So if you're somebody with a 4K display with, say, HDR, leave it to the developer to know what to do with that display. If you have a 1080p and they can take that overhead and apply it to something else that may be a little more applicable for that display, have them do that for you. So all it is plug and play for the consumer. And no matter what hardware, what display they have, they're just fired up.
Isn't it true though, Don? That's a lot of what UWP is going to provide for the Scorpio, right? You're going to put the disc in, and from what I'm hearing, the software and hardware will communicate to the point where the disc is going to be the same disc, whether it's an Xbox One S or a Scorpio. But when you put that disc into the Scorpio, the software, the UWP will recognize and transpire to what hardware you have.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's nice to have these options and have these ecosystems, but and we're all diehard console guys, but we do really want our consoles to start playing like our PCs.
I don't.
No.
You don't want that.
Yeah,
they're kind of going that direction anyway, though, Don. If you kind of think about it, but we're gonna start utilizing keyboard and mouse here pretty soon.
That's why I think the PS4 Pro is definitely, it looks rushed at this point. They rushed it so much that the developers were like, "Well, Sony, what do you want?" And Sony was like, "We don't know what we want, so give them all 3: high fidelity, 4K, and then 1080/60." It's just to me, that's a mess. That's a mess.
That is a bit of mess. Like doing like the 3 or 4. Like for me, I was looking at the Skyrim remaster. I have that on Xbox when I'm playing it. I go on the option. It's like depth of field. You have a slider. I'm like, what the hell? You know what I mean? I don't know. Maybe I'm stupid. I'm just, I'm not a PC guy. I like things simple. I do like the idea of going out and, I can buy a better piece of hardware though, and then I don't have to deal with it. I can still put my game in, and you know what I mean? Like I don't want to mess with a bunch of stuff. So in that aspect, but I'm okay with giving you 2 options. I think that there needs to be.
It's not that you're stupid, Crap. I know you're using it as a joke, but you have these guys that are in the chat that are like, "Mochi Crap can't figure out settings." Meanwhile, this guy can't get a GED in the chat.
Yeah.
My point being,
cold-blooded.
But at the same time, he hit me first. I'm just striking back. Self-defense. My point is that what I want from being a console gamer is I do want to come home and be able to put I like the idea of what Scorpio could be with UWP. You know what I mean? I like that. I want to be able to put that in, and all of a sudden it says, because look when you hook up your S to your TV, right, and you go to settings and you put it on 4K, all the green check marks come up. You have this. You have this.
No, not with this damn Sony. It didn't.
Well, no, I understand.
Shout out to D for helping me out, man, because I was. Oh my God! I'm
in the same boat as you because I have a 4K TV, but I bought it two years ago and I don't have HDR, so I didn't get all the green check.
But I bet your game still looks great.
They look fantastic. They look fantastic.
No, I got all the checks. I'm just saying when I plugged the television in, it came out on standard 1080p, and I had to go into the settings to get the 4K to work, so the Xbox One S could actually see that there was a 4K television. It took me an hour to figure it out Saturday morning.
Wow.
Yeah, and D had to help me out. He'd be on the multiplayer, and sometimes on the Beastfire with Next Gen. I was just like, what the hell is going on? I mean, I asked these people, hey, is this HDR? Is this that? They showed me the specs, everything we went through. I was like, okay, cool, let's go. It's just they didn't have the KS, man. It's crazy.
Well, now times that by 3 when you're talking about what they're doing with this hardware on consoles. You know, if they start giving those sort of options, right? Mm-hmm. You know, that's kind of the problem.
Well, okay, let me ask this question. All right. Now, let's just say, because I do agree that they shouldn't have like a whole bunch of sliders for every game, but for the particular, just to say the developers want to be, you know, say that, you know, if you want to enhance it just for whatever reason that you want to, and they give you that option, would you think that that's a good idea? I think that would be perfect because let it be up to the discretion of the developer to decide if you want to add some, you know, some added features, you know, if you wanted to have some sliders to it or not. To make it simple.
That might strike a balance, but the reality is, you know, a console. I mean, you have a group of artists, like, you know, let's say anywhere from 10 to 20 artists on a big AAA title that probably been doing that their whole entire life, right? I mean, would you want a slider, or do you want them to make their artwork as best as they possibly can for you?
No, I want them to do the art, but I'm saying just for like for certain games, not all games, but for just say for, you know, like for a racer game, just any racer. Let's say Need for Speed, and they want you there, and they have like an option if you want the game to have a better frame rate, you can move it to 60. But if you want the game to look visually stunning, then you just keep it at, you know, you keep it at whatever 4K and at 30 frames per second. Really, I think to solve this issue is for Microsoft to go ahead. They got a year to try to do this, to have it to be 4K 60 frames per second.
Yeah, I mean, I think they have time. I mean, they've got like a year, maybe a little bit less, but I'm sure that they've have like plans or whatever in place for a while. But I do, you know what, because it's getting kind of late. We've got like 20 minutes left. I wanted to cover a couple other topics real quick. Major Nelson, in an interview, basically, while it was actually a Q&A, had mentioned somebody had brought up why Microsoft wasn't doing as many third-party deals, and he said that like they would rather do something like an Elite controller, exclusives, things like this, as opposed to wasting money on third-party deals. And I was curious about the panel's ideas and thoughts on that. Like, for me, one of the things I hated about the 360 later on in the cycle was that they would be like, we get the map packs first, because I didn't give a shit about the map packs or call time content. I was like, where's my games? You know what I mean? It was cool to get like a Gears or a Forza every other year, but I was like, I would much rather have a couple extra exclusives than some map pack 30 days in advance. You know what I mean? Like, that shit doesn't matter to me. Like, it still doesn't matter to me. You know, even at an Xbox, dude. So like, GKB, what is your thoughts on that?
I agree with you totally, man. Like, Microsoft is on a great path right now. There's no need to change what they're doing. Just keep doing what they're doing, and all of us Xbox gamers are going to be happy. They're giving us new controllers. Where's my freaking headset though? I want that. You know, they're giving us like new IPs. You know, just keep doing what they're doing.
Yeah, I agree. Like anybody else, I mean, what's your thought? Are you happier with what Microsoft's doing, or do you wish they would like go back to buying Call of Duty maps and shit?
No.
Well, I mean, I'm of the idea in mind that you could kind of have your cake and eat it too. I don't really think it's got to be one or the other.
They're a little bit more budgeted now. This is budget soft.
Well, you say that, but that's not true. I mean, Recore, Quantum Break, Gears, these weren't free. They cost a lot of money, and I think that they're spending their money there. But then you have situations like Titanfall, marketing money was a waste. Like, I would rather them take the money they did in The Witcher 3, the money that they put into maybe even Rise of the Tomb Raiders exclusivity, and the money they did in Titanfall, and they should have grabbed Call of Duty. You're probably going, Mooch, why? No, I don't care that they get the map packs early, but I care to see more consoles sold, and Call of Duty is a console seller. And that's the one thing that they're missing out on. So I'm of the mind where you still want I still want the Recores, I still want this, I still want Scalebound, don't take that money away, but take the money away from the marketing deals that do you no good.
And your favorite song is I Want It All, right? I mean,
well, yeah, of course I do. It's fucking Frank Sinatra. All right, isn't it? But
isn't Major Nelson being a little disingenuous here, though?
Yeah,
considering they did a deal with the Division for 30 days early DLC, it's like maybe I don't know.
Hey, but let's be fair. That they announced that way early because they showed that, I think, in what, 2013?
They did, but because I mean, look, the reason these companies even do these things is because it actually affects sales. If it didn't affect sales or didn't have a positive influence on what, you know, their strategy, nobody would do it. Nobody would be going after Call of Duty rights for 30 days. Nobody would be going after Rockstar and you know, exclusive online content for Red Dead Redemption 2. The fact of the matter is that shit works. I mean, Sony's proven the last 3 years that you don't need any first-party games in the holidays to sell millions of consoles.
So you're confirming that Sony had 0 first-party games over the last 3 holidays.
You know, I'm joking around with that, but I'm essentially saying, I'm just saying, like, the multiplats are king, and you know, if your favorite multiplat and the people you play on are like, hey, we're going to get the game on this console because we can play these map packs earlier, it has this exclusive stuff. I mean, look at Destiny. Destiny, you know, probably sold the most on PlayStation because of the marketing and the exclusive strikes and the exclusive armors and shit like that. That stuff has a viable impact that can be measured, you know. And to me, when you know, executives and they say stuff like this, is because, I mean, what else are you gonna? I mean, the Elite controller was gonna get made regardless because there's money set aside for marketing and money set aside for games and money set aside for all this stuff. Just because you make an Elite controller doesn't mean like you can't, you know, buy, you know, something exclusive in some game. Or, you know, maybe some of these companies don't want to sell their exclusive stuff. And, you know, I mean, who knows what the answer is? The answer, but I do know that these things work. I mean, it's clear as day that these things work.
Well, have you ever bought a game on a particular console or anyone on the panel because it had DLC or?
No, and that's why I think that it doesn't matter whatsoever. I think that it's more so if you, it's according to what game that they'll get. Like, let's say like Star Wars Battlefront, then yeah, try to get those rights to that game or to COD. But since PlayStation, they jumped on that, that's their baby. But you know, like they did with Battlefield 1, I think that was a great move. I mean, because if they got COD, then Xbox can go ahead and get Battlefield 1. That's the next best shooter that's out. I mean, hell, if they didn't want to get COD, well, you know, they could have been smart and just say, hey, let's go after Overwatch. You know, that's another huge shooter that's there. But I don't want them to focus primarily on that, because I love the games like Recore and other games to come out. I'm like, man, bring us a new Jade Empire. You know,
they hinted at that. BioWare said that they might be looking into doing a sequel.
Well, that would be awesome. And
but
then also,
Rand makes a perfect point, though. It's what's going to sell consoles. When people go in for, like, say, Christmas time, especially this time of the year when they're, you know, parents are buying their kids new systems and everybody's updating because of sales, they're looking at, of course, these multi-plat games and what they're going to benefit with what's sold with what console. And especially Call of Duty, as Rand said, which is, you know, a really high seller with the special, like, maps ahead and stuff like that. They see, say, like, the Xbox with one game that may not have so many, like, DLCs and stuff like that that's promoted, where COD is. And it's like, that's what's going to sell those consoles, and that's what's going to make the money for the season. Or at least that part of the season, you know, for the fall season.
But I just want to say, do you think COD is the exception to the rule? Because I will say this, even though I would never buy it on Xbox or a PlayStation based on DLC, I have actually been in a store where people bought it on Xbox when it had it first. You know what I mean?
Crap.
So I know.
How much money do you think Sony paid for exclusive stuff in Red Dead Redemption 2?
Man, I would say 50 to 75 million.
I heard it could fund a small game.
Yeah,
that's about
because
that's about right.
Because they know, like, these big games,
consoles.
it may not work. It may not work for Mafia 3 or some of these other games. But when you're talking the creme de la creme,
like GTA 4 with that DLC.
Yeah, that shit is going to move consoles like it did for Destiny and Sony. That I mean, Mooch mentioned this earlier. What basically
Heck, look
beat
at
Microsoft
Battlefront and
That's what I'm saying.
what beat Sony's
I want
deals
Microsoft to get Battlefront
with Call of Duty and Battlefront basically won that fucking system. Your boy Z Huge posted where this whole entire year from like January to November, that Call of Duty Black Ops 3 bundle has accounted for 80% of all PS4 sales.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's why I said have your cake and eat it too. All you have to do is just choose wisely. There's no reason to back up Mafia 3 and Titanfall 2 and these other. Stop with that. That's 8 million per, or 5 million per. Yeah. Stack that all up and put the 50 towards COD or towards Red Dead.
Yeah, they wasted it on Titanfall 2. I think they chose wisely with Battlefield 1. I think they wasted it with Division. Maybe not so much like right away because that game did sell well, but
they should have actually took Overwatch, like what K Mega said. But Sony already claimed Overwatch, so they weren't able to get it.
Nobody had Overwatch. That was platform agnostic.
I thought Sony had Overwatch.
No, because
that's another game. That's it starts with a P.
When I was in talks for the $1 million at the at E3, they one of the games they wanted me to do it with was Overwatch because they had a deal with them for some sort of thing but it was platform agnostic, but it works for some games, like it's proven.
It works for Madden, for Xbox with Madden, because that moved because that was when I got my S, is when I got the Madden Xbox S, and they were sold out. There were people that was getting that in the Halo edition S's, and I was like, whoa, people are just buying these off the shelf. So that's good. I agree, but they got to go after they do have to go after the bigger games, but don't go after everything. Focus on, because I guarantee you what would sell if they have a KOTOR, or if they bring back Fable, and they send Fable, like I've been hoping that they would send Fable to Rare and let them work on it and do that would sell. I want that money to go to new IPs or to old IPs that we've been waiting for.
Yeah, but I think that monies are going to go there regardless, because I honestly think that type of stuff is just considered marketing. Like it's to market the console. Like it's, what I mean? Like that's what it's for.
Let's take it a step further. All right, so we all know all the bad deals that Microsoft's gotten with all their not exclusive, but their marketing deals almost this whole generation, right? Well, how about instead of spreading out so thin throughout the year, consolidate on the solid bets, right? And you lock down that contract, but you sweeten the deal. You offer that person more money, and I think that would be much more beneficial for them right now, where things have gone.
Right. I agree. It just, I know that you can't, you're testing the market by working, because the Division did sell well, and I liked the Division. I went back and played the Division about last week, actually. It was fun. It was still fun like it was when you're playing with friends. When you're playing solo, it sucks. But I thought that was a good idea for them. Battlefield 1 is fantastic. Matter of fact, instead of them working on whatever game that they were on Titanfall 2, they could have gave some more advertisement to Recore and had that pushed out better. And also for Killer Instinct, I don't know why they don't push out Killer Instinct like that. It kind of treated like a C game, and that game is like probably out of the top 3 out of best fighters this generation right now.
Yeah, it's to me it is the best. I love it. I think it's great. The way they did it was fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It's a weird situation, but I want to move on real quick to another thing, which would be that there's this game called Battalion 1944 that a dev actually put up a Kickstarter for. It's a World War II shooter using the Unreal Engine 4. Now, this dev did an interview, and he actually said that Microsoft has been really helpful. They've been helping them every step of the way, very interested, a lot of communication on how to get the game to work better and all this kind of stuff. But he said that Sony doesn't seem interested. They're like, yeah, you can put it on there on our platform, but he said that they're really more interested in VR right now, which is a concern if you're a PlayStation fan or if you're just a gamer, because they are already lacking core games. So this is a developer that's saying Sony is really going after VR right now, not so much the core games. And Mooch, I know that this probably would trigger you a little bit. So what is your thought on that?
Wait, I'm sorry. You have to say it again, bro. I zoned out. My apologies.
I'm
reading. Well, you guys were so into that last conversation. I was like, I can't even get into this. What was the question, man? I'm sorry.
Okay, so there's this developer, and he's working on this game called Battalion 1944. It's a World War II shooter. Yeah, but they said that Microsoft has been really helpful and stuff like that, but that Sony isn't really as interested because they are very much going after VR games and want developers to do VR games, not core games. So, I mean, what's your thoughts on that?
My thoughts are exactly what we said, Crap. They put all their eggs in one basket. VR has to succeed if Sony's going to succeed, because this is another holiday. They have no games. They don't even have a big marketing deal. They have COD. That's it. They have COD. They had to lock COD. Could you imagine if for some reason Phil thought COD was really important and he took COD from them? That PlayStation would be dead. I've said this a million times. I'll say it again. The PS4 Pro will not sell very well. Will it sell well in November? Yes. Let's not all go crazy. Mooch, look. 1.5 million. 2 million
Well,
sold.
if you want a great heater for Christmas, it would work.
Now. But, I mean,
Come on,
it's
there's
just
articles saying it overheats.
Oh yeah, no, there is. Well, Digital Foundry debunked it. Of course, they said everything's fine.
Everything's great. Everything's
great.
Awesome.
Everything is awesome. Absolutely.
Don't worry about it. Your Christmas tree is on fire, folks, but it's okay.
Yeah, I mean,
okay.
Here's the long and the short of it, Crap, and I'll let someone else take it on the panel. VR is Sony's future, and if unfortunately, like me and about 93% of the rest of the gamers that find VR to be not there yet, they're in trouble, and they're already in trouble. This is just, and you know what I was thinking? I was sitting here while I was zoned out. I was thinking about a topic though, Crap. What in the world is Sony's E3 going to be next year? They already showed us games 5 years out. Is next year going to be 10 years out? It's just going to be a napkin drawing? Like, what are they going to show us next year? They are so far out. They have no games ready to go at all. At all. Listen, PlayStation fans, I hope, and I'm buying it day one. I'm buying Horizon day one. That game better be, like, limitless, because it's the last game you're getting for a long time. And that, people are like preemptively hyped for that PlayStation 4 Spider-Man. Listen, I understand. Go play the OG Xbox Spider-Man, okay? Except for the graphics and effects, it's just going to be swinging from one side of a building to the other. Those Spider-Man games are played out. So I don't even care if that comes out. That looks played out already. But this is a huge concern for Sony. That's why, Crap, you kind of got to take your question and expand on it, because the reason they're doing all this is they need VR to be huge. And now people are saying that the Pro helps the VR, which Sony didn't want to say because that would stop their PS4 vanilla sales to a dead halt, right? Yeah. So it's just my point being, or it would stop, the PSVR sales to a dead halt when it came out in October. Nobody would have bought it. No one already bought it. Now, but, it's funny, we say that and people are like, Mooch, you're crazy. I saw 3 or 4 people on YouTube. People doing YouTube are not the average consumer, okay?
A lot of the big YouTubers get sent a lot of free stuff. But like GKB, She-Wolf, you guys were possibly talking about maybe picking up a PS4 soon. Would that deter you guys? Because I know you guys aren't really interested in VR. So the fact that they're not focused on exclusives, because I'd assume you'd still play multi-plats on Xbox, so you'd be more after the PS4 for exclusive games. But this would signal that they maybe weren't interested in core games. Would that affect your guys' possibility of purchasing down the road?
I mean, we're still going back and forth about the PS4 getting that, just because there's, I would get it just for the exclusives, and there isn't a whole lot of them. I now have 10.
And it's kind of more or less to do like videos for like comparison and stuff, but
yeah, but I mean, to go back to, them pushing the PSVR, I mean, Mooch is kind of right. That's their future. I mean, how much money did they put in developing and, building this whole thing? So they got to push that. I mean, it would be a total flop and they would lose so much money. So I think, that's probably what they're going to be doing. They're going to be pushing the shit out of it so they can sell a ton of it and sell software for it to make the money back that they put into developing it.
Yeah.
And see, I can't see getting a VR. I can't. Even though, like, I'm just a stay-at-home mom, I still wouldn't be able to sit there with that thing on my head for a long period of time. It would drive me crazy, especially when you have dogs and kids and everything else running around you, that chances are they'll do everything just to, like, make you fall anyway. So I don't know.
That could be video gold, though. Think about it.
Oh, I'm sure I think that, to me personally, like just in my own personal opinion, is going to be the biggest highlight of VR. Is going to be all the YouTube videos and all the bloopers of everybody freaking doing whatever to their friends and seeing who laughs the most or whatever. I think really the only way VR is going to succeed and get the money I think that they fully want at this particular time, because again, I think it could be something big in the future, but not ready yet, is if they make a porn game and then just sell it overseas or something like that. Or, I think that's really the only way they're going to make up as much money as they're expecting to.
I really don't think VR is the future. I think AR is the future, honestly.
I mean, yeah, no, absolutely. I think that that VR is kind of like this fad of 3D. You see how 3D is kind of phased out. The VR is just kind of like it's like the Connect. It will be here for what, about, I'll say 5 or 6 years, maybe until about 2020, and then people will get bored with it. They'll be done with it.
I just think the demographic of people that are buying most of the games and things like that, people go, you guys still play games? The consumer base that especially when you're talking $400, $500, $600, $700, $800, $900, you're not talking about a kid with a paper route. It would take him like 4 years to get $900 with a paper route. So what I'm trying to say to you is the consumer is the 25 to 50 range. And listen, it's 10 o'clock, right? Anyone that go 25 to 50, you're coming home. If you work second shift, it's even harder. Third shift, if you're one of those folks. But if you come home and it's fucking 5 o'clock, you got to mow the lawn, take care of the kids, this and that. No, hear me out. At 10 o'clock at night, like when we get done here, I'm going to play some games tonight, but I'm definitely I'm not in the mood to put on an astronaut helmet and fucking tell my wife I'm beaming out for 3.5 hours, right? Like, I'm not doing that. And if I am going to do that, I'm going to do it once a month. And that's not worth my money for your little PlayStation experiences where you pick up a can and you go fit it into a circular hole over there. Like, that's just, it's just goofy shit.
With that much, adding on to that, like, even a parent, who's going to go buy their child a $600 friggin' headset with all these cords, and chances are they're going to end up breaking it anyways, because let's be honest, these cords alone could make you trip, and the hazard of it.
Right. We don't talk about it a lot of times, but I'm glad you brought it up, She-Wolf. Me as a parent, I'll only speak for me. I'm not going to speak for parents. I'm going to speak for myself. I do not want my kid immersed like that into another, just go on mentally, like just go on somewhere else for 3, 4, because kids will use it and adopt it and use it forever. Okay. Yeah. They'll just sit there and be like, and I'm not even talking about the side effects. I'm not talking about, headaches and eye fatigue and things.
Eye herpes.
Well, eye herpes is in the public store, but I'm saying I'm not even talking about those deficiencies and things like that. I'm talking about just how it messes with their head, their eyes, it can mess their. It's just, I don't want the kid going, because he's gonna put a headset on, he's gonna put this thing over his eyes, and as far as he's concerned, he's not in the living room anymore.
He's like, F you, Dad.
And let's be honest, the younger they are that start using it, their brains are still forming. Absolutely. And it will end up becoming where they believe that they're more into a virtual world than they are into an actual reality.
And if nobody believes what She-Wolf and I are saying, then believe the warning sticker on the side. It says, please don't use this if you're under the age of 12, and Sony put it on the box.
Yeah, and also just the social aspect. Kids already have a problem with being social, especially if they're just completely entwined into gaming or whatever, cell phone games, whatever. Just think if you had that thing on your kid's head just to get them out of your hair, what kind of social, damage that those children are going to have growing up, because they're going to be doing crazy shit in class and people are not going to understand it, and then they're going to get beat up and ridiculed, and you know what I'm saying? And we don't want to go through that, man. I mean, it's just not good. That's why I'm saying that for console gamers, it's not the time for VR.
There's not a ton of excitement from the development community either. I mean, there's some small groups, but even their customers too. People need to remember that as well. Like, when they decide to invest a bunch of money into a particular platform, they want to make the return on their money, right? And I don't know if these companies are really looking at VR and saying, are we going to get a return on our investment?
PC is going to be the only thing that keeps VR going. PC gamers will be the only ones that I see that can keep, because it's built for that. You know, it just seems like it's well suited for the PC gamer, not for a console gamer. People get around and move too much. When you got somebody that only maybe game, you know, maybe once or twice a week, you know, that's a casual. You know, that's not what the thing they want to do. They want to just grab COD or want to grab basketball, football, GTA, whatever, and just play that for a couple hours and then just go back to doing whatever they got to do.
Yeah, well, like, okay, good discussion. Rand, let me ask you real quick. Like, you don't have a PS4 either. Would the fact that they're catering more to VR make you hold off on potentially buying one in the future as well?
No, because the reason I would be interested in the PS4 is for their exclusives. I don't care about virtual reality. I don't care about augmented reality. I don't care about HoloLens. I don't give a fuck about Kinect. They're all gimmicks to me. Fuck them. They should all die in a fire.
Okay. Good. That was savage. Very nice to hear from you. Oh, Mass Effect 2 and 3 added to backwards compatibility. Both added, all three now are in EA Access as well. Mirror's Edge Catalyst got added to EA Access. UFC 2 coming to EA Access next week. This is the service that seems like not a lot of people are talking about because it triggers Sony fanboys.
Did you say Mass Effect was added?
Mass Effect 1, 2, and 3 are all in the vault.
Okay. I didn't know if you said it or not.
Backwards compatibility in EA
Backwards
Access.
compatibility. I mean, that was... Yeah, I mean, isn't that great? Like, for me, I know Jamie Moran, I think he's probably playing the hell out of Mass Effect already, but yeah, just I love this service. You know what I mean? Like, well worth the money.
Skate 3 tomorrow, maybe? Supposedly.
Yeah. In case you guys didn't know, Skate 3 is on sale, and there's free DLC for that for some reason. I don't know. But I heard maybe that possibly a new Call of Duty or old Call of Duty.
I still have fingers crossed for Alice.
Alice Madness Returns.
I'm gonna get it someday.
Did you guys see how I know Digital Foundry is kind of like a bad word, but they did the Blue Dragon stuff and how it's like vastly improved over the.
Oh, is it?
Oh yeah, like frame rate, like parts where the game would drop to 12 frames. It's like a steady 29. Like on the Xbox One. Yeah, see, that's the good part about what Microsoft is doing with their like backwards compatibility and stuff like that. Like I installed it. But I haven't got around to it because, like I said, I've been playing. I know you got that damn broken up box though; it's an eyesore.
It was gross, but man, I had to get it. It was the only one there, so I wasn't going to wait. So I was just like, man, I mean, can you give me another box?
They need to get those double disc games and triple disc games on the marketplace. You still can't buy Blue Dragon or Lost Odyssey or Mass Effect 2 or 3 digitally yet, for whatever reason. They never, they didn't do it on the 360. They're not, even though like Mass Effect 2 and 3 and 1 just appeared in my download queue. Mine too. So
you can play them. You can play them without a disc.
Right. Well, if you're EA Access, if you're not an EA Access members, the only way to play Mass Effect 2 and 3 backwards compatibility is to have the disc because you can't buy it digitally.
Rand, did you hear the thing I heard with the latest update to the store that's probably going to change with that update?
I maybe not. I don't know. I heard different things. I know they're working on it. I know they want to be able to provide those games digitally.
Give us Ninja Gaiden. Give us Ninja Gaiden.
Or Ninja Gaiden.
Ninja Gaiden.
Which one do you want? Ninja Gaiden 2, Ninja Gaiden 3, Ninja Gaiden Sigma?
If they could give all 4 of them, if they could. I mean, if they could give
4 of them?
Well, one Black.
Was Black on the 360?
No, that was on PS3.
Man, if Ninja Gaiden 1 showed up on like tomorrow for backwards compatibility, that's a bigger story because that means OG Xbox backwards compatibility.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Either way, I mean, I want all of them, but I guess
there's like 5 good games on the original Xbox. I don't know why people care about that.
What are you talking about, man?
There's like I know Mooch will back me up on this. There's like 5 good games on there.
Yeah, I'm 110%.
And most of them have been remastered already. I mean, the Halo games have all been remastered.
I have not seen a Toggy. I have not seen a Toggy anywhere.
You're like the only person asking for Otagi, my friend.
I'm not. Trust me. Trust me.
Maybe you and Xbot or somebody like that.
No.
Like, what are the games? What are the games? Like, so you have what? Crimson Skies. The BioWare games.
Brute Force.
Brute Force? Are you serious?
Brute Force was great, man.
What? Brute Force is so great. Like
the game. the Bruce Lee game. And then you had that I forgot what that one game was with Little Ninja or whatever. But there was plenty of games. That was
so wait, all right. So Kay, let me ask you a question. Backwards compatibility on the 360 currently has just about 300 games out on it. Could you please tell me the 5 games you've been playing?
I've been playing gotta look at it's the Neo Geo Coliseum. That's one. Correct. I'm playing also shit. It's mostly all of them fighters. It's damn, what is that? Part 2. It's with the swords.
You've already proven my point.
No,
it doesn't matter. It does. My point is, we're not. The thing is, here's the thing, though, Kay. Look, right now we can walk into our local mom and pop used game stores, not just GameStop, and we can go get ourselves one of these new things right now that plays all the Nintendo games and SNES and Genesis. You're going to be able to buy a used 360 for the next 15 years. My point is this is great. It's fan service, but to say you want to go back another generation, I mean. We got to move forward. These guys they are Microsoft, but they have a team that's working on so much stuff moving forward. They're not going to dedicate it. I mean, Mike Ibarra said it in lesser words. They're just not going to dedicate a crew to worrying about the OG because it's just not there. I mean, even when it comes to the hundreds and hundreds of thousands of titles on the 360, there's only about 100 that people give a shit about. You know, I mean, it's just I don't know. We're beating a drum here. It's like you saying, I love my 4K TV, I love everything, but don't you dare take away my rabbit ears. You know, it's like, why do you want the rabbit ears?
No, that moochism that's a fail. No, that's a fail. Send that shit to hate. No, that's not right. No. Look, I'm just saying it's wonderful because you can get all of these games on one platform.
I do agree with you saying that because that Phil has always said he envisioned your games are your games are your games. So I will stand in line with you on the fact that they are your games, and if they can manipulate it all on the one system, like they are trying to do very, very, very kindly, I might add, they're doing a great job. But I mean, to say right now, while there's thousands of 360 games, there's a ton of them.
It is,
right?
Yeah.
So they're not going to go back another generation until they put a dent in last generation, right?
Well, but I mean, just saying, I'm not saying get all the OG games that's available because that would be a waste of time. But bring the good games that were available. That you know, I mean that wouldn't kill anything. That wouldn't hurt. And I mean, it would be a waste of time to bring, you know, Halo Evolved, you know what I'm saying, when you got the Master Chief Collection, et cetera, but it just, you know what I'm saying, but bring some of those old games back, man.
Okay, let me give you a moochism that might work then for a second. Let's say me and you are carpenters. We go in and we help this lady out. She's in a little bit of dire straits with money, but she said she paid us to do all the tile in her family room and everything like that. All of a sudden, while we're in there starting to do the tile, we notice a crack in the wall. And we said, listen, we know you're kind of hard up right now. We're going to fix this. We're going to knock this sheetrock out. We're going to re-sheetrock it, tape it, and paint this wall. And she's like, oh my God, that's amazing. Thank you. Then out of nowhere, 2 days later, she's like, you know, Kay, and I got a sink upstairs that's leaking. And you're like, all right, I'll take care of that too. And they say, hey, by the way, while you guys are here, my stairs are creaking. And you're like, listen, I'm doing some extra favors for you while I'm here on the job. But now you just want me to redo the house. What I'm saying is, they're going ahead and giving us these eventually 1,000+ probably 360 games. We can't sit here in the midst of their work and be like, hey, I got a leaky faucet too. Could you give me some OG Xbox? You know, I'm like, you got to look at it from the other side of the equation, not just always the consumer. The consumer is always right, but
I'm patient with that. I'm just saying if they're going to, because that's what Killer Phil said. He said that they were thinking on trying to bring OG Xbox game on the Xbox One.
But he's also tweeted a bunch of times, Kay, where he said, you know, that's very far out. Meaning, like, we can't put a dent in that until we're done with the 360 attempt. You know what I mean? They're fighting hard to get those out.
I'm not mad about that. It takes time on that. I'm not saying rush. Right. I'm just saying that if they got the capability of doing it, then these are the couple of the games that I would like for them to bring. That's all I'm saying. But hell, it's way more than 5 games. Come on.
That's an innocent comment. I can't blame you, but I mean, in all honesty, like I said, I've got 85 pristine NES games in the black sleeving that they came in back when I first got them. But like I said, nostalgia is a hell of a drug. I hook it up and I play for 5 minutes and I'm like, let's take it down.
There's a lot of problems with backwards compatibility with the Xbox Xbox, a lot of the publishers don't exist anymore. A lot of developers don't exist anymore.
Right.
Who would be giving permission to? I mean, who made Atagi? Was that Microsoft? I'm not sure.
No, it was the people that made
From
Bloodborne.
Software.
Bloodborne. That's the same people that made
from Software.
So, who published it?
I don't know. It might have been Microsoft. That was an
yeah,
exclusive.
it was an exclusive.
Yeah.
Right. Well, I'm just saying, there's a bunch of games, from a bunch of developers.
You're not taking my Atagi away from me, Rand. I want my Atagi.
I'm saying it's not that easy. I mean, look at the licensing issues they have with like Forza games and stuff, like songs and games and stuff like that. Like those expire. Like THQ's out of business. Like I know that Nordic THQ bought like the IPs from them, but do they have rights to any of the games they published back then? Or I'm trying to even think of some of the other publishers that went down, or some of the developers went down.
What about Project
Microsoft
Gotham?
owns that IP? That's them. But I mean, does Bazaar have any say? I mean, Bazaar doesn't exist anymore, and they were the ones who developed it. I mean, I'm not sure on how all that IP stuff works. I know that's a Microsoft IP, but I mean, look, you were right in saying like, yeah, it'd be great if like Scorpio came like one-stop shop for everything Xbox. All your Xbox One games, all your Xbox 360 games, all the original Xbox games. That would be a great like vision. But in reality, more people care about the 360 because it's relatively new. People started building up a digital library, and I don't think there's a significant portion of people clamoring for original Xbox games and shitty resolution with outdated gameplay mechanics. Stuff like that to make it work.
Just go to PC, Rand, and you'll see people will buy these games. I'm one of them, and there's countless other people that buy these games, these older games. And if you got them on a Scorpio where you can get them at higher resolution, it is a thing of beauty, man. I mean, it's not for everybody.
I don't think Rand would if there's no achievements, though.
I mean, achievements aside, that I'm not talking about that like as a determining factor. I mean, it's like, I don't really like to replay games, so if you're like, KOTOR is one of my favorite games of all time. If they were to be like, hey, KOTOR is available on backwards compatibility, I'd be like, who fucking gives a shit? Like, I played KOTOR when it was out, when it was actually good. Like, there are plenty of BioWare games that have, like the Mass Effect games and stuff that are better. Like, I'd be like going back in time to when I was fucking like 18. I'd be like, all right, and then I know what's gonna happen if this happened. I would sit down to play KOTOR and I'd be like, man, this game fucking sucks. Where's the voice dialogue? Why is the frame rate at 15 frames? Why is the combat suck?
Evil bastard.
Have you gone back and played Grand Theft Auto San Andreas? It was one of my favorite games.
I have not. I was going to buy it because it's like only like $1. But
I bought it.
You know what's a perfect example of this? The fact that people were talking about that they want boots on the ground for COD, but then they complain because of the fact that they can't move as fast as the new CODs. It's kind of the same thing. Everybody wants these these old games, but then once you get them, you go to play them.
It's like that old saying from somebody says, nostalgia's hell
of a drug. Dude, and Hellhammer was yelling this to me when we were playing Call of Duty 4 Remastered. He's like, Mooch is fucking right. Nostalgia's a hell of a drug. This game sucked because he's getting his ass kicked. I was like,
I fell victim to it too, just because I came up with the slogan there. Listen, hear me out for a second, people. I couldn't wait for Left 4 Dead 2 to come back compat. I ran home that night. I popped that disc in. I played it for a half an hour, and I was like, "Fuck this shit! Give me my 1080p. Give me something. I want to play something modern." I played the shit out of these. Like, it's just you're remembering your youth. You're remembering what was this era. But unfortunately, it's like if I picked you up right now, anyone in the audience that's listening, and I'm like, "Did you have a good time in your college experience?" I'm like, "Hell yeah, it was amazing." And fill in the blank. All of a sudden, I pick up you today and I plop you in college. You'd be like, "Get me the hell out of here!" Like, it's just like it's not the same when you go back. Enjoy what you have, and you know what? Enjoy the memories, because when you go back to it, you're gonna alter the memory.
I still play Virtua Fighter 5. I play the hell out of Tekken Tag. I mean, there's still plenty of older games that I play, and I just started to get back on Lost Odyssey.
Shit, I barely have enough time to play all the new games.
That's what I'm saying. There's so many new games.
I know.
Watch Dogs 2 next week. It's like there's just too many games to then add a bunch of Xbox original games. Yeah,
but when you run on hard times, man, and when you grab it on your pockets and you ain't nothing grabbing but lint, that's what you always fall back on.
I have so many games to play that I doubt I will ever reach a point like, well, I played every single game in my backlog. I can play a backwards compatible game now from 10 years ago.
All right, hey guys, good chats. It's 10:30. Like holy shit. Okay, Mooch, what do you got going on? Let's do some outros.
Short and sweet. Crossfire will be this week, but it may be early. I do have a night function to go to with the missus, so I don't know. I will keep everybody posted tomorrow. I'll let everybody know. Probably going to go a little bit early. If that doesn't work with everybody, Crossfire may be taking a week off. We'll see. But otherwise, we have MNC mornings on my channel, 11 a.m. Sunday.
Gotcha. GKB, what do you got going on?
What's up, man? Let's see. I got Shop Podcast on Saturday, Console Corner on Tuesday, back on Xbox Nation. Everybody can find me at Gamers Knows Best on Twitter and YouTube. I'm doing a bunch of new videos, recording them a bunch of different ways, trying a whole bunch of new things. So stay tuned for that.
Awesome. She-Wolf, what do you got going on?
I got Ladies Night coming up on Monday, and then back on Console Corner on Tuesday, and then Xbox Nation on Wednesday, and then I got obviously you can find me on Gamers Knows Best channel doing videos there. You can find me on Twitter and Xbox both at XSheWolfX. Always welcome to join or add me and hit me up, whatever. It's all good.
Are you guys doing game night this Saturday?
Possibly. We're supposed to take the kids to the fair, so I don't know exactly what time we're going to be back. So I'm figuring out time stuff before I announce anything.
Okay, that's cool. Let's see, Rand, what do you got going on, bro?
I'm gonna be dropping a couple of videos on my personal channel. One of them is Call of Duty Modern Warfare Remastered. Does it actually hold up after 9 years? 9 years is a long time.
Yeah, it is.
You know what's surprising? I did a review for because I played through Modern Warfare, the remaster first, so I reviewed that first. That thing's like got a shit ton of views. Like I was surprised.
Yeah, and I'll be doing a Dishonored 2 review, which Mooch can't yell about multiplayer because there's no multiplayer in that game.
Oh, I can't tell you Dishonored.
Right up my alley.
I can tell you that Dishonored was probably my least favorite game of last gen.
Really, that game was that particular game. Like out of all the games, the thousands of games, Dishonored 1 was.
Out of the games people talked about, not out of all of them. No, I mean I'm sure the predecessor, the predecessor to Soda Drinker Pro probably was worse. But I'm saying, of all the ones that people made a lot of hype at, to me, Dishonored was Thief with a couple of powers, and Thief put me into a coma.
Well, Thief was a bad game, so
yeah,
I don't blame you on that one.
Doesn't it look similar to you? It plays similar. I mean, I had it, but believe it or not, you'll laugh. I actually bought Dishonored for the PS3 used, and yeah, right. That's how.
I don't know, man. I have a soft spot for stealth games. We barely get any anymore.
Yeah, you do like stealth.
So I'm super excited. I'll be, this will be my stealth game until next year when the new Splinter Cell comes out.
Awesome. And K-Mega, thank you for joining us too. What do you got, man?
Man, I do the multiplayer, which is tomorrow on Next Gen's channel, and every Saturday, me, Xbox, Don, Newark, the crew, Fooski, and Old Snap Sucker, she beat my tail if I don't say her name. Go ahead. We have help me out, Don.
The
next podcast. The next podcast on Saturdays is 6 p.m. Eastern, and it's
Eastern time, where you can watch you play Xbox original titles on the gameplay.
Yeah. You can see me kick ass on my gameplay because I'm clowning. I'm always being the beast when I go.
Tune in and see if New York changes his battery and his fire alarm too. So.
That was insane last week. That was crazy.
Yeah. So anyway, got that, and then whenever some random person
BGST
hit me
Sundays
up.
Too.
Oh man, I forgot about BGST, man. I'm tired as hell, man.
I know, man. Once it starts getting late, I'm like, man, he's gonna be starting talking about jacking off again.
Yeah, the jack off hour.
Yeah.
and then BGST. My bad. How could I forget about that, man? Yeah, I'm gonna be fired. Or if somebody come randomly call me out of the blue and say, "Hey, I need a fill in. Can you come in?" Okay, I come in.
I appreciate it, man, because originally I was like, it might just be 3 or 4 of us, and then I ended up getting a lot more. And the Don, thanks for hopping in here and talking a little bit with us. It was first time here. I appreciate it.
Oh, no problem. Thanks for having me. Let me crash your party a little bit. So
no problem. And you're on the next podcast as well. Do you have anything else that you do?
We're going to leave it to the next for now because I don't know when I'm going to release my video, but I'm going to release something. So
you're like Hellhammer of the group, huh? Like,
well, I actually have videos posted on my channel, so
so you're a couple steps ahead of Hellhammer.
Yeah, no offense to him.
Yeah,
I'm sure he's got more subscribers than I do, though. So.
Yeah, that's weird how that works. I don't know. But anyway, thank you guys all for joining us. Sorry we kept you guys so late. I wasn't watching the clock. Sorry. We'll catch you guys next time. Thanks for watching.
Thanks, guys.